We are live. Welcome to another installment of the Final Scoop podcast. My name is Robert Schinetsky, the supplement engineer. Joining me, as always, is my international band of brothers and industry insiders, game changers, thought leaders, provocateurs, and troublemakers in Robert Samborsky, Apollon Nutrition, Lukasz, Rytkowski, Prometeus Intelligent Sports Technology, and Shane Smith, Stack.com. Welcome, my friends. For the listeners tuning in on the live stream, thank you for joining us as always. Post up any comments, questions, queries, quips, smart aleck remarks, or cocktail concoctions you may be enjoying this Easter holiday weekend. In addition, if you like what we're doing here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share the podcast, and live stream with family, friends, and loved ones. And if you listen to us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, any other podcast perusing platform, please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy what we're doing here. That helps us climb up in the almighty algorithm that dictates anything and everything to which we are exposed these days. So, my friends, here we are yet again, another week, episode number 40 on the docket. How are you all doing?
Oh my God, it's been 40?
40 episodes.
Oh. It's got to be it's coming up a year. When's it a year?
3 months from now, 12 weeks.
Fuck.
Well, so this is episode 40 of the Final Scoop, but we did 2 episodes of the Quarantine Avengers before that. So, yeah, man.
I think that still counts. So technically it's 42 then,
42,
right?
There we go.
I'm still surprised Robbie is here.
Nobody killed me yet.
Yeah.
Well, pretty soon we're going to see like the FBI top 10 most wanted, and Robbie's going to be like 2 or 3 up there.
No, I'm gunning for number 1.
Well, the supplement industry, you're the number one, but I figure there's a couple of terrorists out there that maybe are punching up, ahead of you.
I honestly think that you and Shane are definitely catching up.
After Shane's excoriating review of Zoe energy drink or Zoe.
Yeah, especially that Zoe energy drink. Oof.
Thing.
He was much worse than I was.
Yeah,
I wasn't that
Get
bad.
ready, man.
Get
ready for Rumble.
See, I wrote it, and then my wife was like, she's like, "You're kind of nice," and I was like, "Really?" I thought it was pretty rough because usually I put in a little bit of like it still had like I was a shit sandwich. I didn't have any sandwich on this, bro. It was just shit. I didn't have anything. It was upsetting because I paid for $250 to bring that in.
How much was for shipping?
Yeah, $250. I think it was combined 400 because I also had 8 cans of the LeBron James Mountain Dew.
Oh,
I got that over. So I mean, it was still expensive, but I mean, you pay for what you pay. But I paid a lot of money to get that over. In fact, Robert was the one that helped me get my hands on it because I didn't want to ship. That was only, how many cans did I get? It was 2 of each?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 12. So, it was a long way, but I was disappointed. I think everyone.
With the rest.
What do you mean do with the rest?
Went to the toilet or what?
No. So generally, I'll sip 6 throughout the week. Like they just be like, oh, yeah, okay, that one's not right, that one's not right, and then I'll save the other 6 for the review. So I lined them up for the review, tasted them straight, wrote it, and then I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to drink these again.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't pour them down the toilet. What animal does that? I poured them down the
for
sink.
the homies.
Well, I mean, my biggest takeaway from this is that business must be good at Stack because Shane can just drop $250 on shipping costs and not even bat an eye for energy drinks, man. So I mean, business is good at Stacked.
That's like a one-off. Like I'll probably pay the same and get, I don't know, 5 to 10 supplements. It's just because they're so fucking heavy.
Yep.
Usually I'll bring over if I bought over 5 pre-workouts, it'd be the same price. And in my mind, I'm like, it's only $40, $30 a pre. But that's how much I've always had to pay. Like for if I was in Europe, if I was in fucking wherever, that's generally what I'd have to do to forward it over. So, it is what it is.
I fully understand because right now we have this crazy boom going on with the energy drinks and especially with the functional drinks as well. And many people are trying to import stuff to many countries. So shipping the drinks via packages, it's insane. from Netherlands to other countries in Europe. It's crazy. So I'm just like, man, paying $250 for shipping to New Zealand is.
Yeah,
that's not
Pete
bad.
actually, Pete texted me yesterday. He says, "What happened?" I was like, "What the fuck?" And he goes to me, "You're not on today?" I'm like, "It's Friday. We do it on Saturdays."
Well, Pete's getting old. I mean, when you get old, memory's the second thing to go. So that's
Bro.
I just saw his comment. I should mention that's New Zealand dollars. So that's what's
yesterday he
40
was
cents
trading
American.
yesterday he was trading on dark energy, so I guess that's why he messed up the dates.
But it's have you tried it, Robert? The drink?
no, the Zoa energy drink.
Yeah.
No,
just-
I know Robbie's tried it. It was like I was going to let you finish it, and I was going to get Robbie's thoughts on it.
Well, yeah, I got actually because I had to buy like 5 or 6 cases because they only sold it by cases. So I figured out, you know what, I like energy drinks, so might as well. But Shane and I, we were talking about it, and we kind of like, we had a feeling it's not going to be good. So Shane said to me, like, "Can you send me 2 cans of each?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So I got them in. I tried a can of each. I'm like, "Man, this is not good." Then my daughter tried as well, and she was not so happy about it either. So then we sent Shane 2 of each. So now I have 8 cans of each sitting at home. I don't want to fucking drink them. So I'll probably bring it to Apollon, hoping that we can sell it probably at Apollon or something because, you know, it's The Rock. But they're just not good. I mean, really, really not good.
It's like it's a very thin, like my best description was not full. So then when you have let's say you ate a banana, it's got a full banana flavor, and like if you had a drink of Monster or Rain, it like hits you and it's just a full, like it's a layered flavor.
Yeah, I agree.
These things
under flavor and it has aftertaste.
Yeah, it feels like you just they sprinkled the flavor in the drink, and then like you get that disappears, and then it's like this tangy chemical medicinal thing, and I'm like, this is the thing that just surprises me that it's not a little amount of money that's gone into this. Like you spend good money for this.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. It's kind of like movies, you know, when like you spend tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on a movie. And it gets to the cinemas and everyone's like, holy shit, this is a pile of dick, right? How did no one in the entire process go, hey guys, well, we should probably fix this because it sucks, right? How did no one try the Zoa energy drink and go, hey Rock, this is a bit shit, bro? I'm like,
I got a question.
It's blowing my mind.
You guys tried only the 0-calorie variety?
Look, dude, look. I understand there's a sugar version out there, but
Yeah.
in my
It can be good. It can be good.
Not only do I refuse to get it. Look, 22 grams of sugar is going to make anything probably taste good. 25 grams of carbs or whatever's in it.
Yeah.
But if you cannot compare to Rain, because the 0 sugar is not 0 calories, it's 15.
Yeah.
So it's not even completely 0. Rain can do it, can taste amazing. Monster can do it. 3D can do it. Rip can do it.
Yeah.
Bang.
America Energy.
America.
I'm like
C4.
if you can't compete with the 0 calorie other ones out there with your 0 sugar, I mean, look, I don't care if you can make it taste good with sugar. I refuse to buy it.
Here's the problem that I have. I've seen a couple of reviews. Like I'm not talking only from within the industry. I'm talking in general. Like I've seen some people posting about it here and there, and it's weird because there are 3 people, including me, that I know well, and none of them liked it. I didn't like it. Shane didn't like it, and my daughter didn't like it. So that's 3 people that, I mean, obviously I trust myself, and I trust those 2. You know, even like our taste buds can be a little bit maybe slightly different, but all 3 of us agreed it's not good. Then everybody outside the 3 of us, I haven't seen a bad review yet. I mean,
I haven't seen. I took a.
Everybody says it's great, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is not good.
I went searching for a review just to like. This was after I wrote mine. I couldn't fucking find a whole lot in Google. Like if you type in Zoa energy drink review, usually you'd get like a list. There weren't really any. And
no, there weren't any. And the ones that I saw on social media, I loved it. 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
the crazy thing was the first 3 messages I got, like after I posted it, they were all saying, finally someone like said what it is. And then I had another industry guy message and he was like, dude, I've been waiting for someone to kind of like tell the truth kind of thing. And he's like, he was confused as to why people were scared almost. And even I was like, why the fuck would anyone be scared? There's no chance in fuck that The Rock's going to read my shit and be like, I mean, I don't really know what he's going to do. I was like, I mean, you could give this to fucking anyone. And I would be absolutely blown away if you didn't like pull a face at drinking one of the worst flavors. Because when that aftertaste hits, I'm like, and the comments on the review, very few disagree. They were like, usually if I'm off, which I never am, I would say out of 10, 6 of them, maybe half, would be like, dude, you're wrong. It's never the case. On that review, I think maybe 1 in 20 said it was. They say, 2 people said good things. One person said, I like the energy, which really had nothing to do with my argument. And then yeah, but I love The Rock, man. I don't know. And then the other one was like, someone said, I was like, I had one of each flavor and I drank them all. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can somehow see if someone likes it. Like, I'm not going to argue, look, if you like it, you like it. But a lot of those people were saying the same thing as me. They were like, dude, that aftertaste is, I mean, even though the initial hit, even if the aftertaste wasn't there, I would call it a bit average because the sweetness and the taste is just very light. Just, yeah, so.
Yeah, I saw it. I just pulled them up on Amazon right now. They're $30 for a case of them. I don't see myself spending $30. I don't need all 12 of them. Like if I could buy them individually or something, I'm not going to spend the money to drink monkey piss.
Case is 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So $2.50 a pop. There's much better things that I've already tried, and I don't need to. This is interesting. Liquid Death.
I am actually going to go as far as saying that this is the worst energy drink I've ever tried.
Ooh.
Or this isn't the worst one I've had.
Really?
I've had when I was in Thailand, I had an uncarbonated Red Bull. I was at the airport and I was like, I fucking need some energy, and typed in and went up to the vending machine. There was the Red Bull. I was like, I know that. Didn't recognize anything else. Pulled it down. I was like, you know those things when like you expect something, like, you know, when you get under the weight and you're like, this should be light, and it's heavy and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. I was expecting Red Bull, so I was surprised when it was Red Bull without carbonation.
You were duped.
I was like, holy shit. I mean, I still drank it, but
priorities. You needed the caffeine.
I needed to wake up. Yeah.
Hey, Brooke. Everybody else tuning in on the live stream. Sometimes YouTube gets stupid with the comment section. So if you're posting something in there and it's not going in, I did a little looking up on the actual comment thing. So it's got a 200 character limit. So keep your things, clean and tight. And then it limits you to 11 comments for every 30 seconds. I think so. So space your stuff out if it doesn't seem like it's getting through. We're not ignoring it or avoiding it or anything. Sandandito, yerba mate drinks are terribad. I've never heard terribad. That's a good word. I've never tried any yerba mate energy drinks. I think the worst tasting one I've tried was maybe the Miami Cola or one of like the tea flavors from Bang. Those are both pretty rough.
I actually did put a lot of questions out. I put one out on my Instagram and I got a few questions back.
Outstanding. Well, good.
I didn't expect to get that many. I had never done it before.
TJ might be napping. He might be. It's in the afternoon, so Grandpa needs his nap. He's got to watch his stories. He's got to watch his stories.
Is it approaching that? What's that time of the afternoon where old people have dinner? What is it?
4 o'clock early bird special.
Early bird special.
Yes, though.
So would any of you try this Liquid Death sparkling water?
No, but
no. Sparkling water, no.
has a solid marketing.
I mean,
Oh, man,
is
it's
there any caffeine to this?
I'm not a fan of the sparkling water and carbon and gas water, as they say in Europe.
Gas water.
Yeah, gas
CO2
water.
level more similar to beer than soda. Okay, but there's no alcohol in it. There's no caffeine. But you can murder your thirst and death to plastic. Why would I drink this?
It's called liquid death.
Right, but if you're gonna say liquid death, oh, here we go. There's that green cola we were talking about before we started. Okay, so for the listeners that have no clue what the hell we're talking about, we spent like 10 minutes before the podcast got rolling talking about fake green cola versus real green cola. If
That's
green
not
cola
fake!
is even a thing.
You know what, Lucas? Send a letter to Coca-Cola and be like, hey, is this yours?
Yeah, but screw you! You got some like life shit or something. You got
Lucas,
the green cola.
This is green cola, but it's not green
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
It's not Coca-Cola. I saw this launched at FIBO, and I remember, and me and my wife both saw it, and we're like, bro, this looks like Coca-Cola. And then we like got close to it, we're like,
And this is
not that.
Coca-Cola.
it's
Sweetened
not
with
Coca-Cola.
stevia.
I understand what it is. I'm just saying it's not
Yeah, but
the
it's not a product
Coca-Cola.
of the Coca-Cola company.
I will need to get you some certificates.
Robert, does it say sweetened with stevia?
It says
Yeah,
stevia extract right
yeah.
there.
Oh God.
Stevia
I remember
extract,
it was the
natural
booth was
caffeine.
But it's
rolling.
also sucralose. Yeah.
There's no sucralose on this one. It just says stevia extract. No artificial sweetener, so there's no sucralose in this one.
Oh, this must
But
have
on
been the real one then.
On the can in the ingredients profile, you can see there is a sucralose.
No, it says no artificial sweetener, so there's not going to be any sucralose in there.
Fuck that.
I want to try it, but if something tells me this tastes terrible.
Well,
No, it
anything
doesn't.
that's
No,
stevia
it doesn't.
sweetened
It
is
doesn't
pretty
taste
bad.
bad. It tastes.
Yeah.
It doesn't
There's nothing
taste
like-
terrible.
It's not meant to be like an energy drink or anything. It's just a
Nah.
Regular Coke.
like
These
a zero
are gross.
calorie.
I've tried these Zevia things. These are gross too.
Is this Coca-Cola?
No.
All right, we are
This is
already
Zevia, man.
we're off the rails already.
I know, Lucas. I'm just being sarcastic because you wouldn't admit that. Oh yeah.
So yeah, we put
What?
out an APB for questions from the listeners. We've got a bunch. Robbie sent me like 6, 8, or 10 or something like that. Shane's got hauled in a bunch, so we will get to those in a second. Let me get these comments rolled through first. Has any tried C4 pre-workout? I mean, I tried the original C4 pre-workout and the original C4 Ultimate. Or is he talking about the new RTD?
Come on, man.
I don't know
If
which
you're
one he's
saying-
talking about.
If he's saying the C4 is disgusting, then I'm plugging off. Sorry.
Well,
Come on, dude.
Well, here
We
we
already
go.
ruined his thought on
Say whatever you want.
Stevia Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but the flavors of the C4 are crazy good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna if that's disgusting. Like any of them, C4 Ultimate Dynasty, even Dynasty's pretty damn good for what it is.
Yeah.
But if any of those are disgusting, I wish I had those standards, but I so do not.
Yeah, Eamon, can you clarify? You're talking about the RTDs? You talking about like the carbonated beverages? You talking about the actual powder? What form, iteration, or permutation?
I don't think I've had a C4 of any kind that I didn't think tasted good or above.
I mean, I hate blue raspberry, but the icy blue ras flavor of like the old C4 Neuro back in the day. I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you don't like the flavor, you'd be not liking it because of, I guess, you're just not a fan of that type of flavor.
Right.
I mean, C4 just, I've never had a flavor I didn't enjoy of theirs outside of ones that I was like, I don't like this, so I'm not gonna like it even if it is good. But I haven't
Favorite
had
Slurpee flavor from 7-Eleven? I've never had a Slurpee in my life.
Never had.
Yeah, never had. I liked.
I've had an
my
icy.
wife did.
Is an icy anything like a Slurpee?
Sean, we don't have 7-Elevens here.
Poland
They
doesn't
have-
allow
hey,
them.
Sean, they have green cola.
We got green cola.
but not Coca-Cola. Green cola.
By the way, guys, you saw the commercial that I sent on our chat? The White Idols water? That's fucking legit shit.
No Slurpee, that's un-American. Well, I don't. 7-Elevens weren't as ubiquitous down here in the southern states, in the good God-toting, gun-fearing. Wait, I screwed that up. Gun-toting, God-fearing part of the country. There we go. We don't have so many 7-Elevens. We had mostly regular gas stations. We're on a ton of 7-Elevens. They're starting to come around a little bit more now, but they're not as around here. So we had ices in all of our gas stations. Like we had time savers.
Can any one of you explain to Polish retard what's the Slurpee? Because I don't know the term or anything like that.
You're not
slushy.
much.
Yeah, if it's anything like and if it's like an icy, it's kind of like a sugar bomb. It's a slushy or something like that.
Yeah, my wife had one. It was one of the things you do, right? Like, I mean, I grew up. Obviously, every movie is pretty much American. As soon as my wife, when we went to the US, like the first or second time, ran into a 7-Eleven. She was like, "We got to try this." Fucking served it up. I didn't have any because carbs,
Only
but
in
whatever.
America. Only in America.
Here, Luke, I'm going to pull up an image for you, and we'll show you.
I'll stick to my green cola.
I can't believe you thought that was real.
It is. And I'm going to prove it to you.
It's just not authentic Coca-Cola.
Even if you showed it to me, and even if you showed me the fact that it said from the Coca-Cola company, I guarantee you that I'm still not going to believe it. I still would. I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the spelling a bit.
Oh.
Here you go, Lucas.
Yeah.
That's what Slurpee looks like. There's the bubble machines and everything.
So it's mixed with ice, right?
Yeah,
it's
it makes it icy.
It's like a shaved ice thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we have something similar in New Zealand. It's called they call it a frozen Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's pretty
what
much
an icy is.
yeah, and it only really comes in Coke. They've only and now they do a no sugar frozen Coke.
I didn't think they could do
it.
that. I thought like that they needed the sugar for it to crystallize. Like the artificial sweeteners they wouldn't freeze properly, or at least that's the way it was when I was.
So they
growing up.
do a Coke, and then they do a no sugar Coke that at McDonald's, and I'm like, every time I go there, because I'm dieting, I'm just like, you know what, fuck, because that thing frozen, it's like, again, no sugar Coke itself makes you feel like you're drinking some kind of sugar, but frozen, oh man, it feels like you're having some sort of dessert. It fills you up, even though there's zero.
Shane, Pete's willing to send you some green cola, 200 US.
You don't need to worry about it. Don't worry about it, because I'll just hit up Coke. They got plenty of money. They'll send it to me because it's theirs.
Amen.
I'm sure they will.
Or extreme blueberry lemonade. Yeah, that's an interesting flavor. So like blue raspberry, or like if you've ever had the smashed berry flavor from Primeval, that's what their mixture is. It's like a blue ras mixed with a lemonade, and it's an interesting flavor. I don't know. It's just blueberry lemonade. Yeah, electric blue lemonade. Redcon one did a electric blue lemonade a couple years ago at Total War. Yeah, I could see that not being good.
Just FYI, if you Google "is green cola made by Coca-Cola," it is a question, and it says it is a carbonated soft drink developed by Greek beverages company Green Cola Hellas and Aristada. I'm not butchering that pronunciation, but it's a Greek company.
Seriously gonna send you the certificates.
If you send me a certificate, all it's gonna do is just gonna be like, man, these guys are really going all out.
It's gonna prove my point that I'm correct.
If it was made by Coke, it would be much easier to find out.
They list it on their site.
No, they don't.
They do.
Where?
European site.
All right, so I guess probably not. So if you go to the Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta, Georgia, we did this back when we were in college, and we were in Atlanta like every year because like all the SEC championships, the college conference to which LSU belongs, all of like the major basketball tournaments, the football championships are always in Atlanta. So like once or twice a year, we were finding ourselves in Atlanta, and there's not much to do there. Go to this really cool diner, and we did the Coke factory. And we did that. And there's a spot where you get to try all the international flavors of Coca-Cola. So like they tweak and tailor the carbonation, the acidity, sweetness profile, and all that. We tried every one. By the end of this, you've tried like 40 different things of Coke, and you're about to puke your guts out. And then everybody always says, don't try the Beverly. Don't try the Beverly. Don't try the Beverly. The Beverly is the Italian version of Coca-Cola. It is fucking horrendous. I don't know what it is. It's repulsive.
In Vegas, in the Coke store, they have a they have the big. I think it's like so not 40. I think it's like 20 to something, 20 plus. And they just have little samples, and they have that, and it's like Japan, Greece. But see, I've had that's got to be an old thing, because I've had Coke Zero. I've had McDonald's in as many countries as I've had Coke Zero, if not more. And Coke Zero tastes fucking the same.
Well, this was back in 2006, 2007. So maybe
no.
They
So
tweaked.
I had the Las Vegas in like 2017, 2016. I think that it might have been what it was like back when TJ was a teenager, like fucking ages ago.
In the 80s?
In the 80s. I feel like that must have been like what it was back then, before like maybe when they had to make it in the country or like distribution. I don't know. But I've had it, and it's not. It ain't that. But I remember, I know what you're saying. I had some of that, and it's some of the spin-off flavors that they do. That's what fucking caught me.
Yeah.
Like they had some real funky, weird Coca-Cola things.
Yep. Ice cream and Coke is extremely anabolic. It's very anti-catabolic because it'll shoot your insulin levels real up, and that'll torpedo cortisol. You'll be super anti-catabolic.
Actually, creamy. My mom does this. She does Coca-Cola and vanilla ice cream.
That makes sense. It's like a root beer float, but with Coke and vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it's just like but she does it like
Coke float.
Yeah, it's just Coke float. Like she done it for like her whole fucking life.
What?
And she like fills the Cocoa, but then she puts like a scoop of ice cream that kind of floats on the top.
Oh, okay.
It looks fucking gross.
Creamy. Ask on IG. Yes, we have a ton of questions that we're going to be getting into. We'll be doing that shortly. This just for clarification for the listeners out there, this actually is a supplements podcast or a supplement industry fitness podcast, but we've been derailed on Coke for like 30 minutes now.
Currently, it's about the realisticness of Coke.
Not any Coke, green cola.
Read Coke. Well, here's my question. All right, let's say you didn't have any pre-workout. Let's say you didn't have access. You're traveling. You're in a gym or you're training at your home gym. You are without pre-workout. You do not have access to energy drinks. Do you drink 6 Diet Cokes to get you into that like 250 to 300 milligram caffeine range to do that? Would you do that? Or would you just have a cup of coffee or just go without stims?
Without.
See, while that question is a difficult one,
Shane would go to bed.
Or do you just only take like one Diet Coke and so you got 40 milligrams of caffeine in you?
I'd probably resort to like a strong coffee or something.
I've done a dry before, but that was years ago. Fortunately these days you can go to a gym and they'll have something. I haven't been to a gym in the last 3 years anywhere, and there isn't something, like even at a convenience store. Mm-hmm. Even in Japan, where like energy drinks, or Korea, where energy drinks weren't like huge, you could go to a gym and they would. That's where you'd probably find them, or you'd stumble across something on the way. But I have done it dry. It's not fun. But yeah,
Coke does do it.
You know what I would do before the gym if I wouldn't have any energy drinks or anything like that? 1 gram of salt.
I thought you were going to say, have a green cola.
That's
do a line of crack. Do a line of Coke. Just go.
No, I'm serious. Just like 1 gram
the
of
other
salt.
kind of Coke. Do a line of the really good stuff.
The pumps are real, man. 1 gram of salt.
It's not the pumps I would want. It's the just to be awake.
Stimulation. Rod should be getting Hypermax Extreme in today. Do you recommend 1.5 scoops or the full 2 scoops? What is your stim tolerance? Are you used to using pre-workouts? I mean, is this your first time using a pre-workout? I hope not, because I wouldn't recommend Hypermax as your entry point for a pre-workout. It's an outstanding product, but if it's like your first product ever, I don't know if I would recommend somebody jump in that way.
I'd do a heaping one. But then again, if he's had these other ones, then I would probably
go celebrate.
I would like a heaping one, so it's like between 1 and 1.5. I mean, if he's used to big ones, then 1.5 to 2, because it's not super high in caffeine. It's like 400, if I'm not mistaken, or around there. I wouldn't worry about like a overstimulation. The comprehensiveness is what shines on this.
Agreed. Where's the pizza and carb challenge, gentlemen?
You know what? I actually might be open to this because I've been doing. I've been talking to Robert, and I altered my diet a bit to allow for a cheat meal, and I have been doing it. And so when I've been hitting like a 1 pound, 1.5 pound drop, usually takes me a week. I do a cheat meal, and I've been able to do this over the past 3-4 weeks. And the cheat meal has been getting, but my problem is that you motherfuckers are going to be eating. Lucas is going to be eating at night. I'm going to be opening my day with pizza. Okay.
Oh, I'm in my cave. It's like what time?
Yeah, but that's when. Yeah, I would have a cheat meal at fucking 9 o'clock as well. That's usually when I do it, or in the evening. I wouldn't do it at 6 in the fucking morning. I'm going to be walking around like a bloated, tired piece of shit.
Well, we can do a live special. We said, Robert, April 17th, right? So we could do a live special just as a eating, like kind of like not our regular thing, but when Mr. Stim wakes up, which is around 10 p.m. our time, and Robert is about 9 p.m. and Shane is still awake, and I think it's probably like midday or something.
If you were to do it late,
we can do it.
Wait. If at that point, I've already had like 2,600 calories in me.
Wait.
You can handle it.
Robert needs to get his fucking goodnight kiss salad. Okay, so we don't want to disrupt that bullshit.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He's gonna grill some veggies.
I actually feel bad because, I mean, Shane makes a good point. I mean, that means that pizza's going to be from, like, the night before or something. Like, that has to be reheated or something.
Who the fuck wants cold pizza as their cheat meal? I'm working my ass off so I can have a cheat meal. I'm not going to do a cold pizza. I'm definitely not going to enjoy it sitting in front of you motherfuckers at 6 in the morning. No offense.
We can tweak the timing.
Yeah, we can tweak the time. Like,
if you can tweak the time, I'll be down.
We can tweak the time. We may just have to do 2 recordings on the 17th. We'll have a podcast, and then later that night we'll
that would be about
watching some UFC stuff. I'll just be crushing some pizza, and I'll eat light the rest of that day. I won't do my ginormous bowl of vegetables, rice, and
yeah, that would be probably around like 6 or 8 hours from now.
Yeah, I'll eat light that day.
Lucas would be in the morning.
Oh, fuck that! I'll take the shot.
I could do that.
All right.
That'll be 2 in the afternoon.
We can do that.
I'm not a pussy, just like Shane.
All right, we're gonna have to establish like some ground rules. So we'll have to get all the same stuff. Do we have to all get the same toppings, the same style pizza, the same size pizza? How are we doing?
Because you're gonna pick only veggies. That's why.
Actually, when it comes to pizza, I actually don't go like a bunch of vegetables on my pizza. I just like pepperoni and jalapeno. That's it. Just don't.
Oh, I like that. I
hate the all meat pieces because then it just turns into like this giant grease bomb and it's gross and it just gets all soggy and nasty.
That's
the
whole reason behind a cheat meal.
Done.
What we can do is to limit to like, let's say, 4 toppings.
I think Lucas is right because the base is going to be pretty much the same and the size we can also establish as well. So the toppings, like we can do like 2, 3, or 4 toppings by choice.
Max.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I think if I do the pizza, it'll be different because again, I think I showed you our pizza's different, man. Ours is like 4 or 5 toppings minimum.
So,
we have something like 20 different pizza menus, pizzas on the menu.
You're not like a Domino's or a Pizza Hut there?
We do, but it's not the same as yours,
like
bro.
A normal ass pizza.
Ours are cheap as fuck too.
Oh yeah.
We can get them for like $8 New Zealand, which is like $5 US.
Here it's not that expensive as well, so yeah.
Wait, no, this is what Shane's got to order. I just found it. It says pineapple spaghetti pepperoni pizza in New Zealand. This is what Shane.
No, don't get confused because we have a cheeseburger pizza as well, but it's literally just meant to mimic the flavor of a cheeseburger.
There we go. Cheese, spaghetti, on your pizza crust.
Did you click? This isn't real.
This is a cream on her.
It says Domino's is selling a pineapple spaghetti pizza in New Zealand. I'm not making this up.
Really? How old is that?
I don't know. That
I've
doesn't
seen
matter.
that.
Here we go.
Nah,
Worst Kiwi pizza ever. The New Zealand Herald. An unholy abomination.
Fuck with kiwi. What the fuck, dude?
What are
And
we
you're
doing
saying
here?
that Coke green is shit. This is shit.
This
Shane, I
is
feel
shit.
like you have to do this.
I'm not doing that. Fuck off. You don't put fruit on a pizza.
You put tomatoes
Go
on a pizza. Tomatoes technically a fruit.
Type in Hell's Pizza cursed. That's usually one of my favorites.
By the way, did you ever try the pickled pizza?
That one you can probably second picture.
This one?
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. Oh fuck, they got tiny pictures. It's like a oh there you go. Go down a bit. In the fourth row, second from the left. You can see a better picture of it. No, on the main screen. There you go, fourth one. Yep, that one there.
Ew, pickles on a pizza?
It's like chicken, bacon, cheese, gherkins, and or pickles, as you say.
Fuck.
It's pretty thick. That one's a beast.
That's interesting. How big is it?
That's what she said.
Well played.
Good one. Good one.
Slip that
We
in
don't
there.
really. Ours aren't as big as yours though. See, our
Yeah, we
regular
need to
pizza.
establish the diameter. We need to establish the diameter, man. How big?
Ours isn't as big as yours.
Why is it gonna be like this?
It wasn't until I see what I
spitting out
said.
my tasty carbonated water.
You know that the only thing about supplements we talked about is energy drinks, nothing else.
We
And
talked
pizza.
about hyperbacks. We actually
Oh,
talked
we-
about hyperbacks.
And green cola with supplementing stevia
Oh yes.
and supplementing calories with pizza. Anyway,
Logan's telling Rod to try 1.25 to 1.5 scoops itself. Yeah, it's strong. I usually only do. Let's see. I do about 1.5. If I'm typically using it. I don't usually do both full scoops, the full 400. I
to be
work out
to be
to
to be
300
fair
milligrams.
though, if you go off the body weight rule, then you're probably 1.5 for you is probably close to 2 for. I don't know how much you weigh, but I don't imagine it being a lot, like super high.
Thanks.
I'm not wrong, am I?
No.
Yes, I always gauge that. Like when my wife's like, "Oh, I didn't feel it. I thought this was intense at 1.5," and I'm like, "Don't be it, sissy. Have to." But then she's what fucking 30 kilos lighter than me. What's that? 50? No, it's
66 pounds.
yeah, it's a lot of pounds.
Yeah, no, I'm not as light as your wife. We're not gonna make that.
That was just my direct example. I didn't mean you guys are the same weight.
Make that pizza for you, Shane. I work locally. Oh, Creamy's willing to make you a pizza, Shane.
Nah, bro. That's one of the reasons why I like cheat meals, because I don't have to make it. In fact, I enjoy ordering it when I'm like out and then just sitting there and being like, yeah, make it for me.
Shane, what's the biggest size on the pizza that you have on your local restaurant or like? Let's
I don't
say,
fucking
pizzeria?
like. We have like we just I don't really know the dimensions, but we do have an extra large one. In fact, the weirdest thing is that they have one here, and it's called the American because it's like it's the Americans' traditional size. But we do have an American style pizza restaurant here. Can't for the life of me remember what it's fucking called, but it's like a specialty place. And it's your style, big, not a lot of
Girthy.
toppings, not fun.
Logan, I won't say that my first pre was Transparent Labs, and then I went straight to Assassin V5. That is a jump because Transparent Labs has like 180 milligrams of caffeine plus 360 theanine, and then you jump into Assassin, which has 600 milligrams of caffeine and 18 other stimulants for some good stuff.
From sleep aids to pre-workout.
There you go. Italian
good
sausage and jalapeno pizza.
I'm not a jalapeno person.
I'm not an Italian sausage person. I don't. It's the fennel. Like there's too much fennel in it. I like pepperoni, but no, yeah. All right. Shall we dive in? And any other for the listeners out there, keep tuning in or keep blasting us with the questions. But as it stands right now, maybe April 17th, there'll be a bonus after hours edition of the Final Scoop podcast with a food challenge.
That is exactly 2 weeks. That could work. That could work.
It is.
I need to get to work.
Okay, here we go. All right. Here's. I'm going to go through the list of questions that Robbie sent me. And Shane, if you want to jump in with any of them or send them to me or something on our messaging thing, we could do that either way.
Yeah, I hadn't done these before, so I did that little Q&A box on Instagram. I don't know how it worked, but yeah.
And Robbie, do you want to say the names of the people that supplied these questions or not?
Nobody told me to say yes or no because I gave them an option. So,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
All right, for the panel, would you agree that many well-known brands rely more on marketing and hype than on quality? Lukasz.
Yeah, that was my thought. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's hard to say straight away.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind, yes, but it's a hard one.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, man. Yeah.
I think every company relies on hype.
No, but I think this is a very specific question because I think like when I got it, I thought about it like for a while because I think like, we know all these like cool labels that are coming lately for a bunch of companies and some of them are mediocre, some of them are actually good, some of them are not so good, but it seems like the labels are getting a lot of attention and I think for most part they are actually transparent. And if you look at it, Robert and I actually also discussed this, I think, a few days ago, right, Robert? Where you look at the label and then a few trademarked ingredients are kind of like jumping at you,
okay.
and you're like very impressed. And then you look at the same at the rest, and you look like very, very closer, a lot closer, and you realize, okay, this is actually not a big deal. But the hype around the industry, again, it's certain brands. The hype is like through the roof, and then I think you look at at another product that the label is, I mean, the graphic design is okay, or maybe not so good or whatever, but you look at the supplement facts and you're like, oh, holy shit, this is actually pretty impressive, but the brand does not get as much as attention. So I think this is not an easy question, to answer. I'm sorry, Lukasz, I interrupted you, but
No, that's good.
It's definitely like very, very tough to answer because on one hand, you want to be honest. On the other hand, you don't want to offend anyone because not necessarily all the brands that are doing it are shit. But there is definitely, I noticed also myself, and again, Robert and I just talked about this. There is a trend like, look, and even like my my marketing director and even our my manufacturer said, oh, you know what, this is going to be very cool because you can put the trademark on a label. And you see some of the companies like trademark this, like there's like fucking 5 to 10 trademark ingredients, and it looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. But then, and then of course they get the hype, whether it's from the review channels, paid or not paid, doesn't really matter. Or they're getting hype from people who are impressed more with the shiny label itself than the actual supplement facts, and it's very challenging. And again, this is absolutely not shit talking because some of them are actually pretty decent. And by decent, I mean, like if I would score them anywhere on a scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely would not give them a 9 or 10. I would give them somewhere between maybe 6 and 8, which is still okay, but it's not as good as the graphic design that is like 20 out of 10. So it's a very difficult question to answer, but I definitely can see why the question popped up. And again, the guy didn't tell me whether to say his name or not, but it came from somebody who is knowledgeable. So I guess what he was getting at is that probably at companies that the formulas are not exactly great, but the marketing and the labels are phenomenal.
Well, so with quality, are they talking about quality of ingredients, quality of formulations? And then the other thing, like let's take
I would
So
say,
I guess
I'm
a good
sorry.
example I'm thinking of is somebody like, let's look at like the big three. So Optimum, MuscleTech, Cellucor.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at those three. So quality of ingredients, yeah, they're probably using top-notch quality ingredients. Are the labels that great? Do they rely on a lot of marketing? Yes. Are their formulas really top-notch? I would say Cellucor, of those three, Cellucor probably has the best of the three pre-workout formulations, where the rest of them are either underdose or just kind of crappy quality.
Well,
But I mean, what do you guys think about it?
Well, if you think about it, like you saw a couple of labels, say from different companies, where you would see something like, I don't know, like let's just go on a limp and say alpha GPC at 600 to 800 milligram, which is perfect, and you get alpha size, so it's a trademark ingredient for alpha GPC. It's cool, alpha size 600 to 800, boom, solid. And then you have something like I don't know, carnosine for beta alanine. Okay, it looks pretty cool because it's trademark ingredient. 3,200 milligram, which everybody likes. Boom, cool. Then you have citrulline, and citrulline is at 6 or 8 grams, and again, cool. And then you get something like tyrosine at 250, and you're like, okay, like what the fuck is that all about? That's what I mean. So I think that quality of ingredients probably not as important as the formulation itself, because who the fuck cares if you get a good quality ingredient fully dosed on a formula that the 50% of the formula is shit. So I don't think it really matters at that point.
Yeah.
So I think the formulation, I mean, that would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I get your point. Yeah.
Okay.
I also agree, that the formulation plays a big role here, but with the marketing, I think, it also comes down to a client's demand, because let's say from my perspective, we get a tons of brands basically, going past through us like on a weekly basis, and like every brand saying, oh, check our formula, this formula is great, that formula is amazing, our formula is the best, so we are like, trying to look out only the best, and but at the same time, you need to look up on the many other aspects, such as like the regulations, how are the labels transparent, what types of ingredients the brand is using, and of course, if the marketing is good and it brings a lot of attention, not only from our perspective but also from client's perspective, we take a deeper dive, into this kind of products. So, but it's hard to say, it's hard to say just one thing. Is it only marketing, or is it just like the formulation perspective? So
I would say that it's not as bad as it used to be, like early 2010s.
yeah,
You would
yeah,
get
that's for sure.
everybody doing, almost everyone who had good marketing didn't have like the greatest formulas.
Mm-hmm.
And traditionally, the guys that had bad marketing were like, we put all our money into formulas and stuff. I would say that the guys who focus a lot on formulas and I guess quality supplements, they've upped their game. It's almost like and they've realized that everyone needs to have good marketing nowadays to basically get your foot in the door. So I think brands like Apollon now versus, let's say, an Apollon back, like a similar quality brand back in 2010, you wouldn't have even heard of them. Like they just wouldn't have happened. So I think a lot of them have stepped up their game, and the guys are already doing really good marketing. Like, you've caught them up. They couldn't really get much better. Mm-hmm. And then I think you get there are a lot more brands now doing really good marketing that have respectable formulas, that have quality stuff. Like back in the day, you wouldn't really get that. Like you wouldn't get brands who had like amazing marketing, top shelf, everything, and then they'd have a formula that was like on point. Nowadays, that's quite common. So I think it relies more on now that you can turn it around, and the education is better, so you can turn it around and be like, okay, this brand's full of shit. This brand's not.
Yeah.
I remember sending you guys also on the group chat, the pre-workout that was made by the Kleenex, the YouTube guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he also like posted that his formula was a game changer and all kinds of stuff. As we all know, he used all different types of marketing, just to like bring the attention. And the formula was based only on 4 ingredients, if I recall. And he used the fancy creatine. He used coenzyme Q10, and two other basic ingredients. Nothing special. And it was like it's supposed to be like hard hitting pre-workout, I think, or something like this. So yeah, his marketing and his reach is amazing, and he has like a lot of people that are watching his channel, but at the same time, he's like starts selling crap, basically. So you need to be aware of those kind of things.
Yeah, and I would agree. Like the formulas aren't stellar, but in his defense, he doesn't spam every one of his videos saying, "Hey, buy my pre-workouts." Like he always puts the information first, and very rarely do you see him do an actual supplement video.
Yeah. I'm not saying that he's like some kind of sorcerer or something like this, but at the same time, just like be aware, and before you will buy anything, just read about the ingredients, about the dosages, about the clinical stuff, and research. That's my
Or
thing.
send one of us a message, and we'll tell you. We'll give you the straight answer on it.
Or read up everything on Stack 3D.
Exactly.
I didn't even see that supplement.
Mostly marketing, only a few use products themselves as the sellers. Absolutely, yeah. I would say that most like a lot of these fly-by-night companies, those people aren't actually using the products themselves. Creamy, for example, my buddy bought flavored creatine for $40 with only 2.5 grams per serving. He got ripped the fuck off. The marketing claims and him not knowing about formulas. Yeah, he definitely got ripped. He got ripped a new one.
Damn.
At first,
This is one from Robbie that sent me. It says, for Robert, but we can actually, all of us can chip in on this because each of you guys are going to probably have a different opinion on this. Criticized and called out some trademarked ingredients. S7. Sorry. Are there any you actually like, and do you think they justify the cost? We'll let babyface Lukasz take off on this one first.
I don't think it's worth any money, to be honest.
And no trademarked ingredients are worth it?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that before you will purchase any product, just take a look. We have this perfect tool that is called Google, and you can like search for basically anything. People around the world are searching like stupid shit every goddamn day. So you can like check it out. You can check the trademark. You can see what type of research it has, and if there is any clinical studies or anything like that, you can basically read about them. And if you don't have any cash on it, you can basically try to like search on the forums about the compound, because some people are also like not paying for the full studies, so they can always like put their like references or like articles about each ingredient, so you can read it up. So I think that as I said before, you will invest in anything, just like check it out on.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, so yes, I think definitely people should be researching what these supplements are before they put anything in their body. Granted, 95% of them aren't going to do that, and then maybe 2.5 of the 5% that's remaining are going to look into it, but they're going to end up landing on some paid-for review platform's website or some brand site that's going to be feeding them a pile of horseshit about the ingredient and saying it's the second coming of creatine when it's really just dog shit wrapped in a bag and set on fire because it's the flavor of the week. So that is kind of the thing that you got to tread lightly. And so say somebody comes to a study and they'll see the study, it says boosts nitric oxide by 230%. Yet they don't have the time or the understanding or how to like actually dive into the study and say like, look, this is a bullshit study. It was done in 8 people. It didn't really do a whole lot. So, I mean, people should be putting in more effort and just don't go by what the review channel says on a product. Actually go and look at the literature yourselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. And also don't limit yourself to just one study, because if let's say you got the trademark, just like S7. So there's like only, for example, one paper on it. maybe like 2, and that's basically it. So what the hell, you know? I wouldn't like, you know, invest in stuff like this. Not chance.
And there is a certain difference between trademarked and like certain branded ingredients. So just about any company can go pay a couple $100 and call it something.
Get a trademark.
Get a trademark and call it whatever they want to. That's different than something like VASO6, VasoDrive-AP, or nitrosogene, which actually, you know, has a patent behind it, and some really, you know, solid data behind it. That's a different thing. So like a trademark, you got to be careful with certain trademark things. There are certain branded ingredients, and we can get into that in a second. But go ahead, Shane.
I was just going to say, when it comes to formulas, like, I wouldn't, like, let's just say I looked at a supplement and it had, I don't know, bigger dosages but no branded ingredients, and then there was one that had branded ingredients but slightly less. I mean, I would still go off the base material, right? I would, like, if you have I don't know, 400 grams of this and then 500 grams unbranded, let's say it's 300 milligrams of one and then 600 of branded, I would be taking the rest of it into account. And I wouldn't hang my opinion or my expectation on the branded fact. And a lot of the time, the branded stuff is maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 in the formula. It's very few times that it's majority.
Yeah.
I mean, if I've got everything's like looking similar and then one has a couple branded features over the other, then I would probably go with that. But I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, this, unless you're talking things like teacrine, where it's not necessarily like glycerol versus this glycerol. It's like, you know, you've actually got something that's like VASO6 as well, nitrosogene, things that sit by themselves and don't have a comparative opposite that could be unbranded. But I wouldn't, I guess, rest my opinion on a branded ingredient. I would still take the whole thing into account. And yeah, that would.
Yeah. Robbie?
Yeah, I think that, you know, everybody's getting caught up with all this trademarked ingredients. And like you said, all it costs like a few $100. And then you come up with a nice, cool looking logo and you put it on a container. And all of a sudden, I mean, it's pure marketing. That's all it is. And I'm not saying that all of them are useless, because, I mean, some of them are actually pretty cool. But I remember TJ saying, I mean, you have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars if you want to do a real clinical, you know, university type of huge research with a lot of, you know, trials and stuff like that to really back it up. The reality is all we have is just the company's claims. And, you know, they put something like, this will give you 6,000% more pump, and this one's going to raise your testosterone levels by 10,000% and stuff like that. And people are falling for it. And then, of course, you know, paid advertising to different platforms. And, you know, people not necessarily going to do research, and they fall for it. I mean, they just plain fall for it. And we've seen it with so many, you know, look how many different ingredients came into the market in the last year or two. Yeah. And again, you know, Mark Glazer said that there is nothing innovative. No, there is a lot of innovations, but are they good innovations? Are they actually game-changing innovations that actually take it to the next level? They're raising the bar. I mean, if you look, like Shane said, I will take a normal, I mean, pre-workout that has, you know, proven citrulline, proven ingredients that actually work. I mean, we have VASO6, that's a patented ingredient, and it's proven to work. It's actually proven in both theory and in practical application that it actually works at a certain dosage. You know, we have nitrosogene, that's also a trademark, but it works. It works, and it's pretty much a solid ingredient. But then you have ingredients that just basically they didn't even make a splash. They made a lot of hype. Yes, S7 is definitely one of them, but S7 is not the only one. I would say that there is a new product or a new trademarked ingredient that comes pretty much, if not on a daily, because let's not exaggerate, but at least on a monthly basis, and everybody's going crazy about it. I remember at one point, every pre-workout had Norvalin in it. Norvalin was pretty much in every pre-workout, and then it kind of like phased out. And then you had, you know, Robert and I talked about it. We even included it in a second bare knuckle, FitKnox. but it also kind of like faded away. Actually, didn't even establish itself that much because not many companies have used it, and there was actually no proven anything about it. And then you had glycerol. Glycerol made a lot of noise, still makes a lot of noise, even though by now we have solid proof that you can put 1 gram, 2 grams, 5 grams, 6 grams, and it's not going to give you what the companies are promising you that it's going to give you, because we actually now know how much you need of that product to make a significant splash on your pump and what it actually promises to do, but in fact doesn't do. So today, instead of talking about the effectiveness of glycerol, the companies are still not willing to talk about it. What they talk about is the clumping. Oh, look, this glycer pump, this is glycer size, this is the new Hydromax. It doesn't clump. We're not talking about clumping. We're talking about the effectiveness of ingredient, but you have different trademarks, and now you're claiming, well, it doesn't clump. It's not about clumping. Yes, if it doesn't clump, it helps a lot. But the reality is that your glycerol, whatever trademark it is, at 1, 2, or 5 grams, it still doesn't do shit compared to proven citrulline, nitrosamine, and those that actually provide, what they intend to provide, and we know the dosage that it's supposed to provide. And they're still not cheap ingredients, but, if you do a solid 6 grams of citrulline, it's still going to cost you a hell of a lot more than your glycerol at 2, 3, 5 grams. So, the cost is still there. But with citrulline, you're not going to have a little R. You're not going to have a little trademarked ingredient next to it. But with glycerol, you can have, again, Hydromax, glycerol, glycer size. And all it is, let's face it, it's useless. It's garbage. It's shit. It's not effective at that dosage that they claim to be. But it looks pretty cool because it has a little R next to it. Yeah. So, Robert criticizing trademark, he never said that all of them are shit. He just said most of them are either shit or don't have enough, not enough backing to prove their effectiveness. So I think that's the criticism is real, and it's not hatred. It's just criticism backed by facts.
Yeah, Ampa berry is another great example. It's a juniper berry extract that's added. Like Redcon One uses it, and I know a few other brands. I've looked into it. I know Drew Peters from Dragon Farm has looked into it, and a bunch of other people. There is no mechanism or constituent in juniper berry that we can find that is potentiating or synergizing with caffeine or any other kind of neurotransmitter pathway that's going to give you an increased stimulant experience. That's another garbage ingredient.
But two things: it sounds good and it's cheap.
Yeah. So yeah, any ingredients that we actually like? Yeah, VasoDrive-AP, VASO6. What else? Nitrosagene's a good one. Generics, like things that I don't think you need to buy a patented form of. Rhodiola rosea, just get a decent standardization of it. Ashwagandha, I would go with a standardized form of it. Either a KSM66, Shodan, or a Sensoril. Any one of those three is really good. Generic beta-alanine is fine with me. Generic creatine monohydrate is good. You don't need to go for the Creapure on that one. Although with upcoming supply chain issues, you might only have that as an option. If the supply chain issues with China keep up, then it's going to be creatine prices and caffeine prices are about to skyrocket.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate a lot of companies that spend a lot on manufacturing will overshadow smaller companies that really will produce superior formulations. That is 100% true and pretty much always happens. That's pretty much the case in just about any industry. A lot of times people fall for hype over substance. Logan, the thing that gets people, most marketing is using 230% more effective. Now, baseline is 100%, so it's only 2.3 times more. So it was exactly. Very, very true. And that's stuff like a lot of stuff Muscle Tech used to do in their ads back in the day. You're like 87% more muscle growth and things like that. It's and when we're talking like measuring muscle growth, we're talking like millimeters of an increase in size. We're not talking like growing your bicep from 16 to 22 inches in the course of a 12-week training program. Assuming you're a natty lifter, that's just, even if you're on gear, that you're not going to be able to add 6 inches to your arms in 12 weeks anyway. Nick, as someone who has started TRT, actual TRT, not a cycle, so I'm assuming you're doing this under the guidance of a doctor, so that's good. What's one thing that you believe is the most important marker to look for on results? Liver enzymes, etc. I've never dabbled with TRT. I'm not a blood work expert.
Yeah, I can answer this one. Yeah.
I was going to say, what's the Robbie answer?
Yeah, liver enzymes is not something that, liver enzymes is something that you should always pay attention to regardless. But if it comes to TRT, I assume it's testosterone. It's probably somewhere in the range of 100 to 200 milligram a week. Liver enzymes, liver enzymes are not going to be affected by that because mostly liver enzymes, if we're talking about anabolic steroids or testosterone or any of that stuff, are only affected by oral steroids, which would be Dynabol, Anadrol, Anavar, and Winstrol. Those are the four, Turinabol also. If it's Primobolan, which is not manufactured anymore legally, only underground, that one does not, that bypasses the liver. So testosterone is not going to affect TRT, even if you're getting Nandrolone prescription or any of that, will not affect negatively your liver. Another drug, the only one that the doctor, if he's adventurous, can prescribe to you would be probably Anavar, which is trade name is Oxandrolone. That one is very, very mild on the liver too, probably the mildest of all of them. So it should not affect your liver negatively or too bad, especially if it's used under 8 to 10 weeks. Nevertheless, your liver enzymes can be affected by either genetics or alcohol consumption, or even lifting can definitely affect your liver, but I wouldn't say to an extent that you should be worried about. In terms of what you should be checking, definitely cholesterol can be affected by testosterone, so that is something that you have to keep an eye on. If it's a good doctor, he should definitely advise you to do blood donation every 7-8 weeks.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, which is very, very, very good. I know very possibly also a doctor should advise you on using, I don't know, baby aspirin is something that I use, but because I have used steroids, again, I never denied that. So, the blood definitely thickens a little bit. So baby aspirin is the way to go. But if it's a TRT, I very much doubt you need to. Kidneys, on that dose also, I don't think that they would be affected unless you have genetic predisposition. If you're drinking enough water, you're not going crazy on protein consumption, you should be 100% fine as well. So definitely something like cholesterol, thyroid should not be affected either. So I think that you're fine. Again, those are very, very small TRT. You still can actually have elevated estrogen levels. So the doctor definitely should prescribe to you anti-estrogen. But on TRT levels, anti-estrogen is absolute bare minimum because some people, the estrogen can still skyrocket. It's mostly even at a small dose. So anti-estrogen should be something that's not much of a concern, but it should still be definitely present, to have more available testosterone. And regular blood work, I do blood work probably on average 3 to 4 times a year, but I think at least twice should be standard. And that's it. Sugar levels, obviously. They should do your full blood work panel, obviously, just to monitor everything and to check your hormones and stuff like that. But technically, generally speaking, on a TRT dose, 99% you should be okay. And definitely liver should not be a concern at all.
Yeah. Robbie, when will Apollon drop a sleep formula?
When Robert's going to stop being lazy and he's going to help me out with that.
Dude, we've got so many. You know what? We're gonna do that. We're muting Robbie. Robbie's gonna be put in timeout. We're gonna put Robbie in timeout. Just ban him from the studio permanently. There we go. We've got a couple of things in the works, Sean. We've got a joint formula. We've got sleep aid. What else have we got cooking, Robbie?
You have like shitload of stuff that's still coming out also with your line that you don't want to tell Shane because fuck Shane.
That's way off. I'm like the stuff from Apollon is gonna come out sooner.
Yeah,
stuff with Apollon.
Look, he's typing already.
Well, what else is Apollon working on?
He's already making his story.
We're putting in 6 grams of Phenibut into the sleep aid.
Okay. All right.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Don't quote me on
supplement
that.
engineer confirms 6 grams.
I lied. That's the April Fool's joke. 6 grams of Phenibut.
And things are taking so long because he's busy.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick dabbled in SARMs way back in the day. Very naive. Threw everything out of whack. Yep. That's why we tend to not even address those kind of compounds or any research peptides or chemicals. Just those things are so bereft of research and disgustingly low in research that it's just not even worth messing with yourself, man. Go try it on some rats or monkeys or like a cousin you don't like. Just don't try it on yourself.
You're basically playing with yourself. That's the thing.
Shane is taking it. Always.
He's always listening.
Fucking always.
Paul, what's your take on myostatin creatine? Shane had an article on this back in February. I pulled it up.
Yeah, this is Body Science.
Yeah, unfortunately, the same problem still persists that Shane mentioned in the article. The website doesn't list the formula.
They have it up now, though. I messaged them. I
don't see it. I just pulled it up on their website, and they didn't have it.
They fucking said they said they added. If they didn't add it, then they sent it to me. But it's like carbs and creatine. It's like Celtic, isn't it?
I mean, it says key ingredients, but it doesn't. I can't find. Is the ingredient panel on here? There we go. Okay, all right, finally found it. The first ingredient, dextrose.
I mean, it's carbs and creatine. I thought.
Yeah, so for a 40-gram serving, you're getting 60 milligrams of taurine, which isn't going to do shit. 1.5 grams of glycine. Okay. 3 grams of creatine and 30 grams of dextrose. No, don't waste your money on this. You're paying $60 for
crap.
That's the entire formula?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some electrolytes.
When it came out, I was like, I liked the idea because apparently it was the original that they did 20 years ago or some shit.
Yeah.
And they brought it back.
1.2 kgs.
That's Australian dollars too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's probably what, like, I don't know, maybe 45.
Yeah, it's not. Just go buy a generic tub of creatine monohydrate and have some carbs in some other form. Don't waste your money on this bullshit.
I think the thing with this was that if you type in is it myocytin.com?
How much taurine? It's like 80 milligrams?
60 milligrams.
Okay.
Yeah, if you type in, they have a separate site for it, and it like highlights like really like it studies numbers on the combination of creatine and carbs.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is just creatine. Like see, this is one of those things that like if someone releases a supplement and says it's like increases muscle by blah 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 blah, and it has like a bunch of ingredients, a lot of which you're not familiar with, I might be interested. But this is, all of these taurine, creatine, glycine. I mean, you could make it yourself theoretically. I would probably put the carbs higher and the creatine higher. I mean, I reckon it should be at 50 to 5, not 30 to 3.
Yeah.
And then like for $40-$45, it's a lot of money to be paying someone to mix together those things for you.
Correct. Yeah, it's definitely not worth it. So you can avoid that, Paul. Don't waste your money on it. Sugary creatine. Yep, pretty much so. I tried to get info out of Robert as well on his live stream with Sandy. I heard something about this new pre-workout he's working on. Shane and them, I sent them the formula a couple of weeks ago. It's still in development. I haven't decided. There's a few things
you see the formula. Well, what are you going to do with it? Like, hey, don't share this. Yeah. Hey, look at it.
Wow.
Any sneak peek?
Post faster. All right. Next.
That was a sneak peek, Lukasz. I'm working on it. There you go. There's your clue. Where's the hype? Where's the marketing? We need a better balance. We just had this conversation.
There is no hype.
I'm a zero hype individual.
No, we need the hype.
Thoughts on creatine, grains of paradise, and BCAAs and workout? The second two have no place in a pre-workout.
I will tell you that if I see these in a pre-workout, this is just me personally, but like that last one, like Grains of Paradise it would be in a weight loss, BCAA in amino, creatine. I would buy separate. I mentioned this to Robic. If I saw these, although we saw Grains of Paradise in the Sup Reviews one, but I actually thought that was still a big. It was Grains of Paradise. I would still pay whatever they would charge for the rest of that formula, but I would much prefer a company like take it out and put something for my workout, like to actually really boost the workout rather than something I might be taking daily. Because all of those, if I wanted them, I'd have them in something else.
Yeah, like the Grains of Paradise could be in like a pre-cardio kind of like thermogenic thing or something. But I mean, even then, it's
Nope.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Grains of Paradise, I agree with what Shane said, of course, because BCAs, I was very, very surprised that Jim Stepani had it in his pre-workout. That was a huge surprise for me because, generally speaking, I actually like his formulas and I like his products. So I was very, very surprised when I saw BCA in his pre-workout. BCA, definitely no. Grains of Paradise, I always said, to have a significant dose of Grains of Paradise, especially putting it in a powder form, I mean, that's gonna burn. That's gonna be really, really intense. And again, it's a thermogenic. I mean, maybe something like a pre-cardio or something, but I would still probably take it in a pill form rather than powder because that would be very uncomfortable. Creatine, that's the only one that I'm, no pun intended, 50-50 on it. I don't mind having it in a pre-workout. From a marketing stand of point, not everybody. I know that some people ask me like, why you don't have creatine in your pre-workout. I think that's such a by choice. It's the same thing as you have intra-workout with carbohydrates. Intra-workout and carbohydrates, you have dieting athletes and stuff like that don't want to have it, and they can always add it themselves if needed. So I think from that point of view, I don't see the need of carbohydrates in a pre-workout, or I mean intra or pre-workout, because that's such an individual thing. Creatine is cheap, and you can add it if you really want to. And Grains of Paradise and BCAs, that's to me same as theanine. They have absolutely no place in a pre-workout whatsoever.
Yeah. If brands are putting Grains of Paradise in a pre-workout, it's for a sensory experience to try to make you think that the pre-workout is hitting harder by giving you that thermogenic component, but it's not doing anything to actually enhance your exercise performance, either strength, power output, reaction time, or any of those things.
Yeah, if I want a creatine, I'd buy it separate.
Exactly.
Just run.
Many brands recommend cycling creatine. Well, they're fucking retarded. And also doing the loading phase. They're equally retarded.
There's the answer. You don't
There's your answer.
There's your answer. Move on.
No, creatine is not a steroid. It doesn't need to be cycled. You don't need to do post-cycle therapy on that. 3 to 5 grams a day, every day. Loading phase is not necessary because you're going to be lifting and doing health and fitness for decades to come. So, yes, no cycling, no loading necessary. That's a quick one. Shane, do you want to kick in any of the ones that you have?
Okay. Before I do my questions, as I mentioned before, my daughter just woke up, so I'm going to do her Easter hunt very quickly. So I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
All right, we're going to time
I'll
you.
still be listening.
For sure.
Oh, so we can't. He's going to listen, so we can't say anything bad about him, or we can make fun of him.
I think more of a reason to make fun of them.
There we go. All right, here we go. We got one for Robbie. Has double impact been as well received? I was actually wondering this the other day too, because I took a scoop of double impact this morning, or half serving. Let me say, I'll qualify half a serving of double impact this morning before my training session. So, Robbie, how has it been received? Is it well received as you hope? Is there a possibility of it becoming a permanent addition to the Apollon lineup?
No, it won't become a permanent addition because it just, again, I think I answered that, so I was surprised to get it again. But it's too expensive to manufacture, way too expensive. I also think that, this is one of those products that you can compare them to the Carb in an intra-workout or post-workout. It's like you don't need a pre-workout of this magnitude for everyone at all times as well. And I think also, we have Hooligan and Assassin that they're not really competing against each other because you have the fans of both. So I think they coexist perfectly well, just like Chaos coexisted with Shogun. And I don't think it's necessary to do that. This was, and I admitted it, on air live. This was done for marketing reasons, for hype, because I mean it created a lot of hype, so it was good for us, and it was a great possibility to include the final scoop logo on a container that Lukasz and I talked about it. And since Lukasz is the crazy one who suggested similar product, and we talked about it, and considering what his mother's been going through, that was also a perfect opportunity to do something special for his mom, or to dedicate something special to his mom, because he's a close friend of mine and he always gives me solid advice, and he was involved already in many projects. So it kind of came together as it made just perfect sense, and the timing was perfect as well. Saying that, I'm not ruling out that it's gonna make sort of a comeback, maybe once every 6 months or a year, maybe in 2 years, maybe never. Lukasz already is feeding me crazy shit on almost weekly basis, so we might do something similar but different. Yeah, well, the answer is definitely not permanent, but definitely might come back in same or similar capacity.
Is there a little bit of stock left if they want to go and purchase some before it goes
I think
bye-bye?
I think there is definitely some left, very, very little. I don't think we're selling anything to, to retailers anymore. There's very little left that we're keeping for ourselves, for the gym, and probably for you fuckers to have as well, so you don't annoy me. So yeah, it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. While Shane's away, we can get nerdy with some ingredient stuff. What is the difference between VASO6 and VasoDrive-AP? Which one is better, and can they be combined? I'll answer the second part of that one first. Neither is better. Yes, they can be combined. They're different ingredients. Lukasz, do you want to chip in on any of this? Say anything about the mechanisms or anything before I go on a tirade? Okay, so
I'll be honest. I don't know much about VasoDrive. I don't know much research about it. I know that you like the ingredient. I know that you believe in this ingredient, and I heard nothing but positive things about it. I know it works. I know it's completely different from VASO6. That much I do know. In terms of combining them together, since they are different, it would make sense that they probably work great if combined together. But that's where my expertise ends.
Yeah. So yeah, they are different ingredients. They're extracted from different sources. So VasoDrive-AP, you also find it under the name amyl peptide. It is a combination of lactotripeptides derived from casein. So the same stuff that's in your protein powder, but this has, like 0.0001% lactose in it. So even if you're lactose intolerant, you can still use the ingredient. VASO6, the original patent application, it was derived from grapeseed extract. Now they use green tea as the extraction. And so basically VASO6 contains the six most powerful vasodilatory, vasorelaxant, endothelial relaxing fractions that were naturally present in grapeseed. So Compound Solutions and their partners have figured out that you can define the same six fractions in green tea. And so what these do is that they stimulate endothelial relaxation. So take your blood vessels and it makes them go wider. So it's opening up the pipes of your blood vessels. It also increases nitric oxide synthase in the body, which is going to increase overall nitric oxide production. So we're getting more blood flow, more pumps, all that good stuff. VasoDrive-AP is an angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. So ACE is angiotensin converting enzyme. That is a dastardly devious little enzyme that takes your blood vessels and goes closes them up, so it causes them to constrict. As an inhibitor of ACE, it's going to keep them open more, so it's going to work complementary. You can say synergistically, it works complementary to the actions of VASO6. So VASO6 is going to cause your blood vessels to be a little bit more pliable. VasoDrive is going to prevent them from constricting, especially if you're using like a high stim product, maybe where some of these other these vasopressive type stimulants would have a constricting effect on it. VasoDrive is going to help keep them a little bit more open, a little bit more blood flow, greater nutrient delivery, ATP production, all this good stuff, better pumps, better endurance, better stamina, better metabolite clearance during your rest periods and whatnot. VasoDrive, just like VASO6 is, they are both incredibly, incredibly expensive ingredients. The cost of goods I got on the VasoDrive quote I want to use the full 508 milligrams whenever either an upcoming product we're doing with Apollon that Robbie and I have kicked around together, or the Massive Iron pre-workout line. I'm going to see if I can get in the full 508 milligram dose. Just because everybody underdoses it. They either put it in like 127 or just 254 milligrams, but you really need to get it up to that 508 milligram level to get the actual active amounts of the lacto tripeptides that are shown in the studies to be effective. VASO6 again is a pretty expensive ingredient. Each of them probably costs around like $2 to $3 per serving for a product, or no, for $2 to $3 for the cost of goods of the tub. I'm sorry, yeah. So for each tub, it's adding $2 to $4, depending on which manufacturer you're going with, to the overall cost of the product. They're not cheap ingredients, but we're going back to what we were talking about earlier. Branded ingredients that I know, use, and love. These two easily qualify for that.
Robert, I'm sorry, I have a question. So you're saying that combining the two of them, you would get better benefits than using each on its own, right? Because they act differently, so you would get even a better pump, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a limit to how much, vasodilation your body before some kind of either positive feedback or negative feedback mechanism comes in. I mean, like same thing with citrulline. You can put in as much citrulline as you want, but at a certain point, the body's smart enough to say, hey, I'm not going to open up your blood vessels so much to where you go hypo and you start getting low blood pressure and all that. Like if you combine these two with a really heaping huge dose of nitrates, which that'll never happen anyway, because we know that nitrates and VASO6 we're not going to see that in a product together.
The reason why I asked you this, because remember when we worked on bare knuckle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my idea was to have 8 grams of citrulline, and I was under the impression to use 300 milligram of VASO6. You suggested to bump it up to 600, right? Now, for example, if we would combine VASO6 at 600 milligram, would you still do VasoDrive at 508?
I mean, could you get by with 254? Yeah, you certainly could, but I'd be really curious to see what happens at 508. And if that's the dose, then why not? So we can play these kind of we don't know what's going to happen because these ingredients are always studied in isolation. They're not studied in combination with all these other things. So could 300 milligrams of VASO6 and 254 milligrams of VasoDrive-AP be an effective combination and get the same result as either 600 milligrams of VASO6 on its own or 508 milligrams of VasoDrive-AP on its own? Maybe, but we don't know. We just don't have that data. Could you maybe take that leap in logic or by understanding like the mechanisms of action and kind of reason out and say, yeah, maybe so? Or could you, same thing with citrulline and nitrosogene? Hey, can I put 3 grams of citrulline and 750 milligrams of nitrosogene? Can I get the same effect as either 6 grams of citrulline or 1.5 grams of nitrosogene? Maybe in theory you could. We just don't have the actual human data to support it. So until that case, I'm gonna max dose the shit out of it, or if you'll let me do it with another pump product for Apollon that's coming out, maybe we can do that too.
But because that's how I feel about it. Like I mean, we're talking obviously about clinical dose or research dose or the actual recommended dose, whatever you want to call it. But say you're doing 6 to 8, or let's call it, let's say 6 grams of citrulline, right? And you're doing a full dose of 1500 milligram of nitrosogene. So they have different mechanisms. So because they're not actually, fighting for the same receptors, they're not exactly the same.
Right.
That means you're getting the best of both worlds, so to speak. Then on the other spectrum, you have VASO6, and on a completely different spectrum, you have VasoDrive. So if we go by clinical recommended, then you have 6 grams of citrulline, then you have 1500 of nitrosogen, 600 of VASO6, and 508 of VasoDrive. So say, for example, you're buying them all separately, and you want the craziest pump on the planet. So even if it's not in one product, because that would be just ridiculously expensive, but say, for example, you have them as a standalone product and you decided to mix them and you're taking them at full dose each, I mean, in theory, again, that would be insane pump, absolutely ridiculous pump that cannot be beat. But the question is also, theoretically speaking, if any one of them we could actually reduce and we would still get the same level of pump, or we simply don't know, or what do you think?
We don't know. You're just going to have to kind of, I mean, like you could do some in-house testing, have your manufacturer mix up a couple of batches for you, do like a 300 and 254 batch, and then have them do the 508 and 600 batch and see, hey, could that work together? And then you'd have to make a bunch of samples and kind of send it out to your beta testing crew and see how they react to it or whatnot. Me personally, I don't think I've seen anybody do it. Maybe Morphogen has put. I know Morphogen's used the 508 milligram dose of VasoDrive. I don't know if they've used it in combination with VASO6 or not. I know they have standalone VASO6 capsules. I think it would be awesome to put that combination together in a pre-workout, whether it's either like a standalone little capsule thing or if you put it in a powder or something. But it's going to be expensive either way. I just pulled up the cost sheets.
It would be insane.
Robert, I got a question.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that VASO6 is derived from, let's say, grape seeds or green tea now. Do you think that, like, if, for example, you could use a generic form of, let's say, green tea extract, get these 6 compounds that you mentioned and stack it with nitrates, let's say, like, do a nice combo of nitrates. Do you think it could work better? Or do you think that you need the trademark that VASO6?
Well, yeah, like a generic green tea extract, you have no idea what the ratios of all the different the active fractions are. So that's what the good thing about VASO6 is. You're getting those 6 specific fractions that are doing the brunt work. Whereas like a regular green tea with all the other polyphenols in it, it's just kind of, you're going to get a good mix of stuff, but is it going to be probably, if I take 600 milligrams of VASO6 and 600 milligrams of a generic green tea extract, am I going to get the same effects pump-wise from it? I don't think so. I mean, I can't, like with Robbie's, the new version of Bare Knuckle that we put out, I mean, there is a distinct difference in the pumps and the performance that I've noted between the new version, which includes VASO6, and the old version. There's not really that much difference between the two products. Like we kicked glycerol out, and so it just proves to show you that glycerol wasn't having much of an impact either in it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what I noticed? Actually, I tried the old version and the new version. You know what I noticed? The difference between them when it comes to pump, what the muscles are just like tighter, and the pump, maybe it has to do with glycerol. The pump with glycerol, it's kind of like soft and kind of like watery, so to speak. It's just like, it looks like just puffy, you know. And the pump with VASO6 and citrulline, it's like a solid veiny pump that you don't get with the second version. Not even close.
More dense.
Nick, Morphogen does have it. Volugen contains both VASO6. All right, cool. Thank you for the clarification, Nick. I knew they had VasoDrive in there. I couldn't remember if VASO6 was actually in there since they released the standalone VASO6.
I think there is 300 milligram of VASO6.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I love both of those ingredients. I just pulled up the cost sheet for the Massive Iron pre-workout. The initial cost for like the first draft, $3 per tub is what VasoDrive is costing you. 1,500 milligrams of nitrosogene is $1.22 per tub. So those ingredients right there are $4, which is more than the cost of any Insane Labs pre-workout costs them to make. So shots fired.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
I'm taking off the FBI list.
Yeah.
I told you a few days ago, you're a badass, Robert. Now,
comparing to Robert, I'm like a candy girl right now.
Just wait till I get some bourbon in me. Then things really get spicy.
On the pizza night.
On the pizza. No, I'm not mixing bourbon with pizza. I'm not degrading my high quality bourbon with pizza.
Oh, come on, man. Do it for the people.
All right, here we go. If this will load. All right.
Maybe take it back.
John Jones turned down $10 million, asked for $50 million to fight Ngannou. Rumor has it that the most he got paid in the past is $5 million. Thoughts from the panel?
I think he's afraid.
You know what? Up until I saw the numbers, what's up, David? Up until I saw the numbers, and people said that John Jones is scared, I said it's fucking ridiculous. It's absolute bullshit. He's not scared. He's not afraid. That's just ridiculous. But when I saw the numbers, I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind because the thing is like if you look at the last 2 fights of John Jones in light heavyweight division, I really think that the argument could be made that he lost to Santos. I mean, Santos with fucking broken knees or whatever still beat the living crap out of Jones, and it could go on either way. I think he did lose to Reyes. There is no doubt in my mind that he lost that fight. He lost that decision for sure, 3-2, and it's just because Reyes kind of faded in the last round. I think that he got the nod. I think he left the division because he didn't want to fight Israel Adesanya. I really think so, because Israel was coming to 205, and in the striking department, I don't think he had a chance unless he would take him down or something like that. So I think he went to heavyweight, which the division wasn't that great. And Ngannou, even though he was knocking out people left and right, there were a lot of holes in his games. You know, in terms of as a mixed martial artist, weak cardio. You had to, get him in the third round. He had no wrestling. He had no grappling. He had none of those. In a fight against Miocic, he showed that. I saw that in the second round, he was kind of breathing heavier. So I still think that his cardio by the third round probably would gone down significantly. But his takedown defense was amazing. His grappling improved a lot. He wasn't like swinging for the fences. He had much better shots. He was much more patient. I mean, he showed that he can fight, not just knock out people. He can literally fight. He's a fighter, and I didn't give him credit. Actually, I hated on him, and I said he sucks. Only has a knockout power, and that's it. But I think Jon Jones. I mean, judging by all this, by these numbers, I think Jon Jones is scared, because Jon Jones is an amazing fighter, and he is. But he's not a knockout artist. He's not a knockout artist, and he's hittable. He's hittable. He's been hit almost in every fight, but he's never ever been hit with somebody with a power on Ngannou. And that guy touches you, especially in the first, second round, chances are you're going down. I mean, he just hits that hard, and I think that Jones wants a huge payday, because. I honestly think, I don't know if the term scared is appropriate, but it's just like I can't find anything else. You're going from 5 million to asking 50 million. You're not Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is the name that Conor McGregor, whether he wins or loses, can still demand huge amount of money. You're definitely not Khabib. You don't bring as many viewers as Khabib does. You're not even possibly on Ronda Rousey's level, because she was packing pay-per-views like nobody else. Those are like true superstars. Jon Jones is definitely the best light heavyweight of all times, without a doubt, but he just doesn't have the same pool as those three that I mentioned, and I don't even think they got paid 50 million. I think that Khabib got something around 20 million, and I think Conor gets maybe around between 20 to 50 million, but again, Conor is not a fighter. Conor is a mainstream name. That's a huge name, and he's extremely marketable. Jon Jones is not on his level. So I think when he's asking for 50 million, realistically speaking, he knows he's not getting 50 million.
I don't know if I say he's scared, but I have to imagine that this is a game he's playing. Like, you wouldn't spend, what has he spent, like half a year now, gaining weight? You wouldn't, it's not like Francis just came in. It's not like the other guys just came in. He knew they were there. So I almost think, you don't spend 6 months. He could have been earning money in the light heavyweight. Yeah, he may have lost, but he still would have earned money. But you wouldn't leave that money on the table.
He cleaned the division in light heavyweight. He definitely cleaned the division.
Yeah, I know, but
the last two fights, he was definitely vulnerable. The heavyweight division, if Miocic would have won, and he could have won against Ngannou, I give Jon Jones a much higher chance of beating Miocic than Ngannou. A much higher chance. And I think he was banking on that. I think anyone in that division, probably 9 out of 10, Jones beats, maybe not with ease, but he definitely has a better chance of winning. The heavyweight division is not that great, but you have that one guy with a freakish power who seems to be not only the champion right now, but he also seems to be improved, where he's not a puncher. He seems to be turning into a legit fighter. And Jones has a status that he can just walk in and get a title fight. So, yeah, I'm not super comfortable with the term scared, but I don't think he was banking on fighting Ngannou. I think he was banking on fighting perhaps Miocic, or thinking Ngannou's going to win, or maybe then Ngannou's going to fight the way he used to fight up until this fight, because in this fight, he surprised everybody. The guy can literally fight, and he can be patient. He can kick now, something that he's never done before. You know, he's 34, but he's young because he's only been fighting for 5 or 6 years. So he doesn't have the mileage, and he's been hit by Miocic in this fight so hard that probably 90% of the fighters would have fucking gone down, and he just fucking walked through that punch.
I mean, I say he's scared because I think that's how it's coming off, but I mean, you're talking tens of millions of dollars. Like, he could have fought light heavyweight and won probably, or even if he didn't win, he still would have got paid. But he put that on hold to get heavyweight, and even though I don't think he would like Francis, he's not. I mean, again, this is tens of millions of dollars. He's not sitting there being like, fingers crossed, Stipe holds on to it, right? He knows, he had to have known that it could have changed hands. He had to have known the possibilities. If you got that much money on the line, like, again, tens of millions of dollars that he could have earned, you're not going to be sitting there going, oh God, I hope no one beats Stipe. He's probably going up, growing, being like, you know what, I've gone up. I don't give a shit who the opponent is. I think he's turned down 5'10", said he wants 50, so he can land in the middle. And he probably will land in the middle. And but him coming out and saying this, what the fuck? We're talking about it. Well, I think he's playing everybody to make it seem like he's scared. Then when he goes and
don't
like
forget
fights.
that this is a guy who is all about legacy. Every opportunity that he gets, he posts, I'm the best ever. I'm the best ever. He does not want to lose. He wants to retire completely undefeated, kind of like he has one loss in his career, but that was not a loss. That was disqualification. that doesn't even count, and everybody knows he defeated some of the best names ever in. In a light heavyweight division. I mean, Shogun, everyone, Lyoto Machida, he beat pretty much everyone, and decisively, Vitor Belfort. So I think he doesn't want to lose. I think he's obviously a multimillionaire. He has the money. I don't think he wants to risk, but if he would risk fighting, and that's not fear. That's a calculated move.
I don't think he's risking anything.
But
I mean, he's been suspended 3 times, though. I mean, don't you can you really qualify for like the best ever if you've positive for drugs and been suspended 3 times?
If we're talking like running, or we're talking like a sport that's like, but these are 2 beasts beating the fuck out of each other in a ring. I'm like, oh my God, he was popped. I know that's bad and he was suspended, but the audience isn't going to be like, oh no. And they never used to have those. They didn't have like great testing, if any, back in the day. So you can't. It's not like the sport was 100% drug free the whole time.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm not looking at the UFC at the Olympics. If it was an Olympic sport, I would be like, oh yeah, he's winning because he's blah blah. But this is the UFC, man. This is 2 guys beating the fuck out of each other.
But here's the interesting part. He was popped twice for steroids, right? If you think about it, like he was suspended for it. Steroids. What they call them performance enhancers. The ones that he's been popped, I think it was one was Turinabol, maybe twice it was Turinabol. That's not going to help you with performance, for sure. It's not something that's going to make you faster. It's not something that's going to make you hit harder, really, or anything like that. It's a steroid that it's really not going to help you much with an actual performance. With actual performance, something that would help you is probably EPO. Because EPO is obviously, red blood cells. So, Balden.
Is it something that he's less likely to get popped for? Like, is it something that's easier to mask or something?
Yeah, but here's the thing. He was popped for cocaine. and not punished. Now, funny is that cocaine is a performance enhancer. That can really, that's like a fucking best pre-workout you can get. But he was not punished because cocaine was not on prohibited list.
Is it one of those things though? Because I know when I used to swim, there's a prohibited list for inside and outside of training. So if you're at a competition and you're racing, the substances they test for then are not the same as what they would test for if they did a random test throughout the year.
Yeah, but USADA right now was they would show up at your training facility right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In swimming, if you were tested in training, they don't test for the same things as they test for at a competition. If they test you before your race, It's not the same as what they would test for.
Oh
in
yeah,
training.
100%.
So I'm
And
wondering
also,
if cocaine is on one but not the other.
yeah, cocaine was
I mean, it
actually,
should be on all of them, but
yeah, the one when he popped for cocaine was actually in competition. That was right after the fight,
No.
and they still
Yes.
didn't punish him. Yeah, they still didn't punish him. And don't forget, cocaine also as a performance enhancer would help you only for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, which means, your gloves
Hey, man.
and everything
That's all
is
you need.
already, yeah, everything is pretty much wrapped. So if you think about like sniffing cocaine, you can't even do it yourself. So that means just before you walk out, your trainer or whoever is in your corner actually has to assist you with that. So you can actually take it right before you go out because it's only in your system. The fight is 25 minutes.
He
but-
probably had it the night before or something.
well, I don't
Probably
know.
partying.
And another thing is that he was not punished for that. And there is a document that right now he just admitted, I think, a few months ago, that they actually came to test him, and he was hiding underneath the octagon. They couldn't find
Yeah, I
him.
remember that.
Yes, so I mean that says a lot. So if you think about it, most of his wins, the ones that were notable wins, were actually when he was using performance enhancers. Definitely. So I do agree with Robert. I don't know, his legacy, I think, is tarnished quite a bit as is. This is a guy who does everything very, very calculated. He definitely cares about his
Yeah.
legacy. He has millions. I mean, $50 million, he knows very well. He's a smart guy. Nobody's going to give him that.
Yeah.
Maybe from 5 to 10, from 10 to 2. I mean, they offered him 10, maybe 20 million, but 50 million,
I
nobody's
reckon
going to give him.
20. I think either he's really dumb and it's like, nah, I'm going to go to the heavyweight and whip everyone's ass. And they're like, dude, you're not going to do it. Fuck you. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm the best. Or he's really smart and is like, clean up this division. I'll finish my career in the heavyweight. Unlike anyone's done before. I'll gain the weight. I'll grow. I'll make sure it's a key fight because, I mean, he's going up a weight. He's likely going to draw pretty big and shoot for as much money as he can. I like to think the latter. I like to think he's smart and calculated. With that much money on their line, you can't be that dumb and you can't be surrounded by that many dumb people. So I think that he's playing with everyone. He comes off as scared, but that's just going to make the fight seem way more surprising because now when he says, yeah, I'm going to take it, people will be like, oh shit, he's not scared. I have to think he's going to take it. At
Yeah,
20 or whatever.
but it's hard to think that somebody who fought best of the best and had amazing fights
Yeah.
to say that he's scared, I think is kind of like
He comes
it's
off as
definitely
scared, but
far-fetched.
when you think about it, he can't be that stupid.
He has to take this fight. He absolutely has to take
Who
fight.
spends that long going up in weight to
Because
turn it down?
say for example, Ngannou's going to fight Derek Lewis or something. He actually already lost to Derek Lewis once, and Derek Lewis hits very, very hard. And say for whatever reason he loses the fight, now they're going to say to John Jones, "We can give you to fight Derek Lewis or somebody else." I 100% are sure that he's going to take the fight for a lot less money. But it's just not going to be the same. And he's not going to make the same money. It's not going to be the same magnitude because everybody wants to see him fight Ngannou. This is one of those fights that, everybody wants
I
to
think
see.
you need to see. I think it'll happen. I mean, he's been gaining for 6 months. Come on, guys. He should be up there by now. He should be getting there. I don't know what he weighs, but he should be there.
Follow-up question another one from the list of Robbie questions. Last week you discussed the article, it was in a study by Dr. Cohen and colleagues at Harvard University about underdosed spiked products. In your opinion, those companies and manufacturers, should they be trusted? A few caveats to that. So that study, it was published in 2021. The products themselves were purchased online in 2018. So those were using old products. Do we know, are those companies still using the same manufacturer? Do they even have the same raw materials? Are the product labels still the same?
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, so I'm not going to pass judgment on that.
That was kind of I was going to say, I was like, we said this last week. I would feel bad if the company tested it themselves and were like, fuck it, let's change manufacturer. And then this comes out. I don't know. I would, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've used a couple of Chaos and Pain products here at the house. I love their Cannibal Ferox. I use a half scoop of that. It's got, theophylline in it, which technically isn't a dietary supplement, but it's a hell of a stimulant, and I like it. So, and there's some other stuff there. So it's just purchase things from products. If you have questions like one-on-one products, email one of us about that, and we can give you our opinion. I'm not going to pass blanket judgment on a brand based on a 3-year-old test. That more than anything, I don't take that study as it being that you should avoid all of those companies on that list, but make it look of like that should put a little buzzer in the back of your head that always be careful about which products you're trying. Do your research, contact the brand, see if you can get, if they don't do third-party lab testing or do that, ask if they'll share some COAs with you or something like that, or just, purchase from quality
The ingredient
companies.
is probably another thing, because it's not like they tested caffeine; they tested.
Right.
So I'm like, I feel like that should be a thing where you pay attention and be like, hey, that's what I took from it. Like, people using this ingredient, may or may not be. So it's that's probably more notable than the brand.
Agreed. Shane, do you want to go through any of your questions?
Yeah, I had a few. I had a couple that I was going to mention to you before whether I should ask.
I mean, I've got some left over from Robbie's list. I can save those for next week since we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Okay, so one of the ones that I liked the best was everyone's take on mass gainers.
Right.
I think we've mentioned this before. I fucking love gainers. Only because back in the day I was a skinny little bitch and I was I was 70 kilos at 18. So what's that? It's like 150,
You're a twig.
160. Yeah, I was tiny. I mean, now I'm what, 215, 220. But
how tall? You're what, like 5'10", 5'11", Shane?
Yeah. But when I started, I was from a swimming background, so we were taught to eat carbs. Protein was secondary. It was like, you need the energy to train 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. No diet's going to be able to make you keep up. You just throw in what you can, basically. And then when they were like, no, you need to eat protein. I was like, well, that's not in fucking pasta, is it? So I learned mass gainers, getting them. I think it's great for guys who need to better get in 1,000 calories post-workout or whatever the fuck. Not to like rely on it, but just to get used to your body taking in that amount, because it's very difficult to be like, do 1,000 calories of food. It's much easier to do it in a shake, and then I've always felt that it helps your body be able to take it in more. But I also tell people, make sure whatever you're doing post-workout is like somewhere in the realm of what you would do on a meal. So like if your gain is 1,000 calories and your meal's 300, no. Make them closer, bring one down, one up, whatever. But I think mass gainers, it's almost like caffeine, man. It's 1,000 calories in like a fucking powder. It's amazing. It's breakthrough science. You get a scoop or 5 scoops, whatever the fuck it is, and they tell you this is whatever.
Yeah.
10
servings
per bag.
27 per bucket.
I think the vast majority of the ones on the market are really low quality. It's like maltodextrin and a cheap ass whey concentrate. And I mean, I don't think they're worth the money for the consumers. If they just bought a giant like tub of rolled oats, a gallon of whole milk, and a tub of whey protein concentrate, like their own or whey protein isolate or Apollon's 50/50, take a scoop or 2 of each scoop of those for each of those, throw it in a blender, buzz it up, you got your 1,000 calories there, and it costs you a fraction of the shitty gainer that you're going to buy.
Yeah, but no, I need this. I still bought the gainer because I'm like, I don't want to fucking cart around all that shit. I just want the all-in-one.
Why would you have to cart around? You keep it in your kitchen.
No, like, well, back in the day when I was younger, I would be at university the whole day. So I would just have it, put it in the shaker when I'd be working most of the day, so I'd have it there. But, I mean, that's the whole, it's like why I go to McDonald's to get a cheap meal, so they can make it for me. I don't want to have to bring it all together. That's, you can do that with a lot of supplement. This is the too hard basket for me. How hard do you want to work, right? Carbs and creatine I can do. I mean, you're talking different.
Some protein powder milk in there, man. That's
oats, milk. Nah, dude. And the taste, you got to get the taste right. And then you get the gainers where nothing beats having what supplement do you have? And you roll out a 22-pound bucket. Oh, dude. You know what? Nothing is more douchey and supplement, gym heat junkie than a fucking giant tub of, shit called, the Beast, the Gainer, whatever the fuck it is. That's just as stereotypical as Stim Junkie, right?
I remember like 5 years ago when we had like Vivo and other huge events. The main thing was selling was always like the biggest, the heaviest buckets, and on top of that you had these bags, And I remember when we were like, going to the hotel after each day, and we were seeing like all these people like going out with all these bags, all these buckets. that was the best,
It's the best.
Best you ever, So yeah.
Keep rocket firing, Shane. If you're up, or do you need to go? I know y'all just finished the egg hunt. Do you need to?
No. We did the egg hunt. It was entertaining. She didn't. She just liked hunting. She didn't actually eat the chocolate, so that was a waste of money. But it was the moments that were cherished.
I'll send you $50 US, and you can ship them to me that way. I'll cover shipping.
Someone said hooligan, bare knuckle, and pineapple, please, because the pineapple enigma is amazing.
Okay.
Agreed.
So that's not really a question. That's a demand. Make pineapple bare knuckle. There are a couple other ones in here I didn't quite. Someone said the most exciting vegan supplement coming out in 2021. I don't really know, because the only vegan products you really get are snacks and
protein powders or bars. Yeah.
The only thing I did like, the most exciting one I saw was that Brave Robot ice cream again.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it was the whey, and it was still meant to be like plant-based or some shit.
Yeah.
That was last year, but that was probably the most exciting thing I had seen in the plant-based vegan category.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have. I don't know. I don't think there's gonna be a vegan product that comes out that's gonna get me excited.
I haven't seen any new ones where I'm like, oh my god, their flavoring is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
If Ghost did an authentic something for their vegan, which they haven't yet, then like if they did an Oreo vegan protein, I don't know. Yeah. Obviously, there's things to do it. That I might be excited about. Or if we got like a vegan protein bar collab with some awesome cookie, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen. I'm just talking about things that I would think would be exciting, not necessarily.
We tried Sandy and I tried the Steel Fit Steel Vegan proteins. The fresh brewed coffee flavor is great. Coconut cream and chocolate PB is okay. I mean, it's like your typical vegan proteins, but the fresh brewed coffee is solid.
They still kind of have that.
Honestly, I had some samples of the Steel, and I really enjoyed all the flavors as far as vegan.
Yeah.
There's
Primeval's protein bar. Oh no, sorry, I was reading a question. Sorry, or comment. Primeval protein bar. I have not tried that yet. I've heard it tastes phenomenal. I know G Money Gerhard over at Fitness Informant has tried it and is raving about it.
It's been coming for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's gone through a couple of different iterations.
Yeah.
This one is: should all companies publicly display third-party test results like NutriBio?
If they had the resources to do it, it would be awesome. But most companies don't have the financial resources to do that.
Because I know NutriBio hasn't always done it. They said I remember they said they tested it, so then they were just like, it was just a matter of figuring out how to get it like accessible, easily installed online. Because the first company I remember doing it 10 years ago was Cytec.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a database where you could just type in the batch number, but it was only their proteins, which was the majority of the lineup anyway, but you could type in the batch and it would show you the test results. There have been heaps. There's been Purist Labs does it. There's others that have done it, but I think it must be incredibly difficult.
I'm correct, Man Sports as well.
I don't think Man Sports does it.
I thought they did.
I think brands do it, but I don't think that they. I think a lot of them do it, but they don't make it like, here, go to mansports.com testing, and then you just enter the batch number. They don't make it that
public,
easy
like
to
readily
access.
available.
Because that's the hardest part, I would think, is being able to make each batch for each flavor products. That would be so difficult. Cytex, when they did it back in the, I don't know if they still do it, but 10 years ago, it was just like a huge list, and you just searched and it found your batch number, and it was very easy to do. But I can't even imagine how difficult it would be to do that for every single supplement flavor. They did it for, and then just putting it online seamlessly. You don't want to hire someone specifically to do that, but I just think that's the hardest part. Well, I would imagine that'd be the hardest part.
Yeah, and the expense on the brand owner's side. I mean, it's super expensive to do that kind of testing. So it's in an ideal world, would every company do that, and should they be compelled to do that? I would like to see that, but I mean, it's financially it would cripple most companies, or make your supplements cost twice probably what they cost now. And are the consumers willing to pay for that? Probably not.
If you told me, it's in that area of, like, if say, hey, we have to take out less ingredients or we can do transparency, I would probably be like, no, let's not do the transparency for the quality of the supplement. I don't know what I would really change. I don't know if there's many things I would swap for that, because it's, I mean, most companies are held within certain rules anyway. Manufacturers are held within certain
tolerances,
guidelines. So yeah, I think I'd like to see it, but I think it would be really, really tough on brands.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Robbie? You're the brand owner here.
No, I think you pretty much summarized it to have it available where somebody can just type in the batch number and stuff like that. You have to hire somebody to do it, to update it on a regular basis. I think the final cost of the supplements would go through the roof. As much as I like the idea, because I would like the idea also probably to do a proprietary blend, because it would cost me a lot cheaper, but it's just not my style. Certain things, I don't think there is a limit to perfection. Unfortunately, when it comes from a cost point of view, it's not very doable for most brands. Unless it's a shitty brand with a shitty formula, then getting a little bit extra, but nobody would do it on that level. I think that certificate of analysis to produce upon demand or request would be doable. I mean, I know I can do it. That's not a problem at all, but I think that would be something that, because I think, like, if I'm not mistaken, like in Russia, if somebody's requesting you either a certificate of analysis or to disclose where you're manufacturing the product or something like that, I think you have to. I'm not sure about it, but I know actually most Russian companies actually say where they manufacture. Sometimes they even say it on a container, manufactured here and here and here and there, and that's it. So I think that some kind of a transparency in that regard for the consumer, because, for example, like, there are certain manufacturers that have very, very bad reputation, like extremely bad reputation. So if you don't want the supplements that you're purchasing to be manufactured by specifically that particular manufacturer, I think you have the right to know, to request that information. I was like, oh shit, it's manufactured by them. I don't want to purchase that product. I think that should be okay. I numerous times said where I'm manufacturing the products, and I had absolutely no problem with that. In fact, recently on Stacked, somebody posted Jay Cutler's, samples where it says manufactured by a certain company. And there was a comment, a very negative comment from somebody I know personally, actually, who said, you saw that, right?
I saw that.
Where he said, I mean, if Jay manufactures somewhere else, like I said, I'm not going to comment on that particular, because I did manufacture with that company too. So no comment from me. But the fact that, consumer know where it's manufactured or can request it, I think that should be normal. I think that should be expected, and I think that should be okay. I think that whatever you're putting in your body, you deserve to know, at least the certificate of analysis, at least where it's manufactured. And if it's not to your liking, then you have options.
Agreed. little more lighthearted topic. How was Godzilla versus the giant ape?
It was fucking awesome. I mean,
Was it?
when you get more CGI than people, you know you're in for fun, right? And the thing is that so many things in that movie did not make sense, but it was just no one gave a shit. It was Godzilla versus King Kong. It was fucking sweet. I mean, an ape and a giant lizard. I mean, worth
That's what I heard.
every
I
dollar
heard that
paid.
like the human elements of it were like a complete waste. It made no sense, and just like they should have
Yeah.
just left it all on the cutting room floor altogether and just kept the two monsters
Nah,
the entire
you needed the
time.
people, because then it would have seemed weird. But I mean, I didn't really give a shit. I mean, if you asked me what any of their names were, I couldn't remember any of them.
Yeah.
But I remember Godzilla and King Kong, and that was fucking awesome. And I mean, they just tore cities to shreds. They didn't give a shit. Like, if this was like a drama movie, you'd be like, oh my god, Sally and her husband died with their 3 kids in that building. But no,
Yeah.
buildings were toppled, fucking everything was blown up, and no one gave a shit about how many people died because Godzilla was fighting King Kong. It was the best.
There we go. How would you rate Controlled Labs as a company and quality of their products?
That's interesting.
There we go. Before we jump on that, Brooke loved it too, Shane. It was a brawl fest.
She'll know what I mean about the holes in the science stories.
Lucas, have you ever messed around with any Controlled Labs products?
Yeah, I did.
Do you like them? Do you not a fan of them? Where do you fall on it?
Honestly, I'm a fan.
Yeah, so
And to be honest, it's probably one of the brands that is underrated, in my opinion. Some of their products are really good, and in Europe, especially the vitamin, the Orange Triad, was the #1 seller and still is. And honestly, I think that it even dominates in many regions as far as before the animal pack. So this was I believe it was the first, I would say, like, a big multivitamin that was like selling like crazy, and it still is, but I don't know, right now the availability is a bit lower, plus they had to change the formula due to the regulations in Europe on some vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to lower up the dosages. So it made some issues for them, but I think that they also did a special edition just for Prometeus. So we had a special version of it, only for European clients. But honestly, I'm a really big fan of the brand. I tried Blue Sugar, if I remember correctly the name.
Yeah, the
Orange
GDA.
Triad. Yeah, Orange Triad and a few others. Red Light. To be honest, I'm a big fan of the upcoming formulas that are just being released. So yeah, man. I have nothing bad to say about them.
Yeah, Shane.
they were they're one of the first brands that I tried, like when I really started looking around back in like late 2000s, early 2010s. Green Magnitude, Purple Wrath, Orange Triads, Oxy Mega. In fact, one of their supplements that I have only seen one other brand do similar, and I thought was the fucking best thing in the world, was Black Hole. I don't know if you remember. I don't think it's still available, but it was promoted as like an appetite enhancer.
Yep.
So like the opposite of what you want. Because Muscle Meds came out with something, and that was the only other supplement I've seen where they're like, enhances appetite, increases cravings.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you, Shane. Guys, this stuff worked like hell.
Oh yeah.
If you had any issues with appetite, this stuff would you could eat a cheat meal and just drink a fucking gainer, and you would still be hungry.
I'm taking
That
that
was
before our
weird.
pizza challenge in 2 weeks. Then I'm gonna go
Bro.
find the bulk ingredients and order it off Amazon.
This stuff was so good.
This was back when I didn't have much of a budget, and I was like very cautious in spending that. I'd buy like 3 supplements, and then if I had a little bit left over, I'd do something experimental. This was one of the ones that I got. and it was, I don't know what was in it. I mean, we're gonna look back, and I'm probably not gonna be like a super amazing formula, but it was, yeah, it's very rare. Like I said, I've only seen Muscle Med's the only other brand that's done it, where it's like increase cravings, increase appetite, all the things you typically don't want is on there.
I know there's Performax in their Mass Max gainer supplement. They have some appetite enhancing ingredients in there.
There's also from AD, Ravenous.
Yeah, Ravenous. I've heard of that one before.
What's that one?
Ravenous from Project AD.
Project AD. You never heard of it?
Yeah, I know Project AD, but I don't know their full lineup.
I like Controlled Labs as a company. I think they're great. I mean, I knew some of their forum reps back on the bodybuilding.com forums back in the days when I was first getting into supplements and everything. Their pre-workout White Flood V2 was actually the first pre-workout I ever used ever. So Controlled Labs has always held a special place in my heart. I like their stuff, and they were the progenitor, I think, of EAAs in supplements. So it was kind of always Purple Wrath was the EAA formula, or you're going against Extend. And unfortunately, I mean, we saw how that played out. So
I remember buying a tub of not White Flood, but Glycer Grow. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like taking a scoop and mixing with water, and this shit didn't mix at all. So I decided to do a dry scoop, So I was like 16 or 17, something like this. I was like dry scooping this shit, and I was like couldn't like even drink the water because it was like it doesn't dissolve in water at all. But the pumps were real. Yeah.
You just eat it.
Yeah.
There were many holes in the science of Swiss cheese of logical cinema. But I call Gonzalez, so it's like the Transformer movies. Nobody cares about the plot. Just I don't need to see Shia LaBeouf or Megan Fox or any of the other people that are in the movies. Just show me Optimus Prime kicking the shit out of Megatron. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, I said, me and my wife were discussing afterwards. I was like, what about this? And then we're like sitting there going, when you think about it, though, this is like a fucking building-sized lizard and gorilla. I mean, us poking holes in the science is pretty pointless as it is.
Exactly. Creamy. Do you guys feel Apollon unintentionally puts pressure on other companies? No, Apollon does everything with great intention. Robbie is on a vendetta and a mission to destroy every other company in this industry. I'll leave it there first. He views Apollon as one of the only companies who drops upgraded versions correctly. Well, there you go, Robbie. Some props for you. So,
thank you.
Are you intentionally or unintentionally trying to crush every other company in the industry?
Nah, I mean, to answer it honestly, you know what? I'll answer it seriously and honestly. I did notice that lately I've been seeing a lot of companies doing V2, V3, V25 and whatnot. But the truth is like, I think we were among the first ones, if maybe not the first one, that really kind of like did it every year. We had an update on a certain pre-workout, on every pre-workout actually. And, nootropic and stuff like that. So I do feel like, I'll take, I don't know whether it's credit or influence or whatever, but I will say this, that I haven't seen this prior to Apollon doing it, where a supplement would be upgraded often or stuff like that. So I hope the companies are taking it the right way by me answering this. But the truth is, I think that if not the first ones, then at least the ones who did it noticeably, and, each and every version was definitely better than the previous one, more packed, more research, more upgraded, and we kept the price pretty much the same, while paying more for supplements for each and every upgrade, because it was like, I already know that Hooligan, I'll show it to Robert to get his okay on it, but the thing is that each and every one, even the same thing as Hooligan Bare Knuckle 3, we just talked about it. My formula was citrulline 8 grams, and VASO6 was at 300 milligram. And I sent the formula to Robert, and he goes to me, I love the formula, it's great, but bump VASO6 to 600 milligram. I never even questioned the price, even though it's a very expensive formula. But once he told me 600, it was 600, regardless of the fact that the cost of VASO6 just doubled. So we upgraded everything to make sure. I don't see a point of. I've noticed some companies, they're doing the V2, but they're not really upgrading it. They're changing it. They're changing it around, but I can know that based on cost, they're probably paying just as much, and in some cases probably less than the previous formula. It's just different, but not necessarily better. Is it pressure from us? I still consider us as a small company, so I don't think that they should be pressured. I don't think there should be competition. I think that Apollon is kind of in its own league, so I am flattered because I see even few copycats right now who are coming out with very, very suspiciously similar profiles. So I'm flattered by that, but at the same time, it's pretty obvious that they're trying to sort of copy. I don't think it's pressure. I think that maybe some of them are taking Apollon as an example and trying to do the same, which is great because they're not sitting on the same formula for 10 years and trying to sell the same product to the consumer by saying it's the best on the market. So if I can take credit for the supplement industry evolving and some brands are getting better, then so be it. I'll take that credit all day long and I'm proud of it. Pressure, I don't think and this is not in any mean, I don't mean it, but if somebody like Optimum Nutrition did a V2 or somebody, or Universal Nutrition did a V2 or V3 or whatever, I don't think they're influenced by Apollon. Those are multi-million-dollar companies, so I don't think they should give a shit about what Apollon does, and we doing completely different products. I mean, I don't think we're competing. I don't think I'm competing against anyone. I really say that every time I make a post about pre-workout, I say that this is the best in its category. I would never say this is the best product on the market or this is the best pre-workout on the market or intra-workout on the market. Like we did the EAA and Robert helped me actually with Enigma. We specifically did not do any carbs or anything in this intra-workout. We could have. It's still a fucking expensive formula, but we did it our way. Well, some companies have carbs intra-workout. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's definitely not wrong, but it's different. It's different. So we do everything our way, and some people do it their way. And if they changing and they like changing their formulas or upgrading or updating, whatever word you want to use, if it has something to do with Apollon, I'm pretty sure in some cases it does. I'm pretty sure it does. Is it in every case? Do we have enough of a pull to influence giants of the, Ghost or giants like Optimum Nutrition or giants like BSN or any of those, multi-million-dollar companies? I don't think so. And if they are paying attention to us, then so be it. Great. But I don't think we have a pull with specifically those brands.
Well put.
I'll see. I think Robert's answer was a little bit different to what I thought he was going to say. But
I could be cocky and arrogant too. I just chose not to.
I think it's not influencing anyone yet. I think, if anything, the high stemness of the hooligan and I think that's influencing more because V2s, V3s, V4s, they've been around for as long as I have. Cellucor, most notably, is generation 5 or whatever it is. You had Super Pump Max, Super Pump 3.0,
yeah,
Super Pump
we
whatever.
can influence them.
They've been over for years. I don't think the thing that Robert does that I think is the most impressive and interesting, and I haven't seen any other company replicate, is the fact that Apollon upgrades on a regular basis. That's the thing that Apollon does so well because, again, Cellucor has done, that's just an example, but they've done different generations over like a decade. Mm-hmm. Ghost has done V2. They've been working on V2 for years. And I would say Apollon's come on a little bit more over the past couple of years. So, I mean, I don't think anyone's influenced by, it's just their general life cycle of 2 to 3 years, new formula. I think Apollon will have influence next year, maybe the year after, because not those big companies that'll be doing V2s now, but it's those smaller companies that are similar size or looking up to Apollon or mid-size that will be like, oh shit, he's upgrading and evolving each month. And then the more companies that you get doing it, that is what then will come, kind of like when Jim Stoppani did transparency, then a few others did transparency, then everyone had to do transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Apollon's constant evolution, and he is obviously evolving and improving, that will likely start affecting and encouraging and inspiring other brands. And then when that group does it, that's when those bigger companies will be like, because the obvious question is, and it's always been the question, how can something that you made 4 years ago still be good now? How is, like,
Yeah.
and then I think more people will ask that, and that's when the bigger companies might need to, start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I like it with Apollon is because it's so genuine. Robert's not doing this because no one else is doing it. Robert's not doing it because he thinks other people are shit. He's just like, okay, this is done. I think I could do it better next time. And this is done. I think I could do it better next time. And it's not like it's a different version of each supplement at the same time each year. He's only doing them when he can do them better. So It's just a constant evolution of oneself. And that's what makes it so, I think, cool to see, because it's so genuine. And other companies will likely get inspiration from it. But like Robert was saying, I don't think it can be done the same way as he's doing it, because if someone's like, I need to do a different version because that's what Apollon's doing so well, they're not going to have the same approach as Robert. They're just going to drop it because they need to drop an improved version. They'll be like, what can we do to improve it? Whereas Robert's like, I'm going to do another version because I can improve it, not the other way around. And I think that that's the kind of drive and mindset that I think will have an influence on those smaller, mid-sized brands, and then lean over to those bigger companies. Like if Ghost does a V3 next year or the 2 years, then there's a bit of influence. But if they do it, they might not do it for another while. But when you start seeing companies do it on a regular basis, that's when like they've had an influence. And I imagine that'll be the case, because you saw companies come out with new supplements every few years, like way back. Now then it was every year, now it's every like few months. And so the next evolution is what Apollon's got, improving those supplements, not just coming out with new ones, improving them on a regular basis. So it seems like a natural evolution that I would say Apollon's one of the first to do, like just to make these tweaks, call it the same thing, come out with it, and then just constantly change. I haven't seen that done as regularly as Apollon does on that brand, like that whole brand. Usually it's just one pre-workout like Super Pump, or Muscle Tick might be the closest, but they didn't do it as regularly as Apollon. They had their hardcore series, all those series, and they would evolve each time. But I would say that, yeah, he's definitely going to have some influence and impact. Having some impact now, but influence, I think, will come within the next year or two. But like I said, it's not like Robert and Apollon need this. Be like, oh yeah, we're influencing, let's keep doing it. He's just doing it himself because he wants to. That's what I think is so good about it.
Authenticity.
First of all, I kind of dislike Shane right now, very much so, because he fucking answered way better than I did. So fuck you for that.
Anytime.
On the other hand, I genuinely want to thank you for your words. Really appreciate it. Like really, really, really thank you. I have to thank you for it. No, I know you did. I know that you're authentic and you always speak your mind. That's what makes that so special to me. So thank you very much for your words. Next, let's have to fuck you.
All right, I think we're going to end on that happy note there, gentlemen. We'll save the rest of the questions for next week. We got, I think, 3 or 4 more from the list Robbie sent. Shane, you got a few more in queue that you can send me, and I can put them in a master list together?
Yeah, I can send them. I don't know how, but I will.
That'll work. Well, yeah, just send them in the group chat, and we can do that or whatever. We'll do it that way. For the listeners tuning in, thank you very much. Have a happy Easter weekend. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video with family, friends, and loved ones. If you listen to this on the replay, and you have a topic for future episodes, shoot an email to any one of us or me at thesupplementengineer@gmail.com. If you like what you're doing, if you like what we're doing, leave us a 5-star review in iTunes or any other podcast perusing platform. That helps us climb up in the algorithm and be exposed to more people that need to hear the good word of the supplement industry and these 4 knuckleheads that are on camera each week.
And drink a green cola.
Drink green cola.
I'm going to go order a 12-pack of green cola right now.
Please let us know if it's made by Coca-Cola. We have to settle
fucking
this.
not. We've already been through this.
Well, I trust Lukasz.
Thank you, bro.
I think he's been duped on this one. I think this is the one time Lukasz might be off.
All right, gentlemen. Y'all have a good weekend.
Guys,
And I will, Lukasz, get some sleep. Tell Mama hi for us. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, bro.